We are
And
live.
live.
What up? This is Double I. This is Yam, Bill Baron Yam, and this is Tico Tren, and this is Forum Bitches.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the forum, gentlemen. Take a seat, pull
Uh-huh.
out a cigar, have yourself some bourbon, whatever the hell you need to get through this day and into another.
True story. True story.
Very nice. Very nice. So, one thing that I wanted to talk about was how I started making content. That was uh, that was kind of like a lead in to a topic that I wanted to talk about, which was about like courage.
Okay.
And so that's basically how I wanted to start off today. But did anyone have any like logistical stuff to say before we begin the forum, or is that we have permission to do my little story and everything?
Proceed.
Go, buddy.
Excellent. Well, then, so I started out I started actually looking at MiGTOW and red pill content and stuff at about, I would say 2016 is when I started to view said content and stuff like that, and it was really eye-opening to me, partially because it was just like this brand new thing on YouTube that I just came upon. I used to watch YouTube for video game tutorial videos, movie screenplay analysis videos and stuff like that. Used to be really into making movies and music stuff, so I used to listen to like a lot of acapella tracks and jazz renditions of songs and things like that. So it was like kind of really creative. And what's funny is like when we go and look at the Manosphere content, a lot of these people are actually former musicians and former creative people or artists or something. Like I can think of Lord Dobby, who is like he's actually like an artist. He like constructs masks, and it's just like so creative. A lot of the people that used to make that make stuff that I've watched are just, they're geniuses. And then so how I kind of decided that I wanted to make videos was like, I just kind of in my own mind I made it seem like I was just field testing like my phone camera, because I'm not really like a person that takes a lot of pictures, but I've made like movies and stuff before, so I just decided, hey, let me try to set up a camera and talk about stuff. And so one of the things that I first started talking about was this cult that, like, not cult, but it's like a cult, like multi-level marketing scheme that is like in somewhere in my area or in and around my area. And they talk about, the talking points of it are actually just like really in line, little did I know, with the whole red pill philosophy and stuff like that. But they seemed to be trying to take advantage of young people who had kind of like a willingness to help them with their mission and stuff like that. So I basically talked about that, and how they were talking about, oh, you know what, my goal is to save 100 single mothers every year from poverty, and I'm hoping to retire in my early 30s and increase my assets and quit my 9-to-5 job. And all that sounds like so alluring, right? When you first move to a new city, and then somebody's like says they see promise in you, and you just have to come into this meeting with all of the mentors and stuff, and learn the process, and then try to recruit other people. And it all sounds great until they start asking for money. Like they start asking you for $800 buy-in or something like that, so that you can get access to their web tools, and then their stuff for creating an online business. And what's weird is I've ran into people in the community who've actually joined up with them, and it's funny because they're so cagey about the stuff that they learn in the class, the quote unquote classes, but they're always willing to talk about the talking points. So like I start asking them, what is your mentor's name? What is his name? And they're like, what or who? And I'm like, yeah, what what's their name? And then they're like, oh, so and so. I'm like, oh, I know them. And it's shocking to see that they only know people that know their mentors to have, or that work with them, to know somebody that doesn't, but also is aware of them. It kind of like, it puts them into a paralysis, because they don't know how to manage their leaders with somebody who's not a part of the scheme, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's like they're so aggressive with it. They're so aggressive with that business model that I think they probably find quite a bit of success, because their mentors are also successful. But I think when you really start to question them, they just fall apart, because they don't have the kind of attitude that somebody who's had to work at something for that long has, but they have like apparently the resources to basically talk like they do. And it's sad to hear it again from somebody else who I look at, who's a young person, and I just think to myself, what is that person that's mentoring you ever actually asked you to do and has done for you, and like get them to think critically about it, because it's just sad when I see it happen. And I was close to doing it, because I had recently been laid off my job. I was like in a prime position to be like recruited, but I managed to find my way out of that situation. And I think that's like real courage. I think to like see a way out that's going to be like, oh, this is easy. All I got to do is just talk to people and get them to sign up for this product, and just going the other way from it. It's kind of something that I see as being, well, the start of my content on YouTube, but as well something that's core to anybody's personal development, is learning when to walk away from certain money schemes that are going to trap you, for lack of a better word. And that's what I see as like true freedom. Actually, is like is having options out there that are going to be, that might be better financially, but taking one that fits more in line with your values, because that's really the only thing you can control at the end of the day. You can't actually control your ability to work, because that can get taken away, as we've seen. Mm-hmm. But what you really can control is just the things that you value and the things that you respect. And then once those things go away, or once you give those things up for a paycheck, as soon as that paycheck's gone, then you realize you have nothing, and you have no base or platform whatsoever to stand on. So that's why that's what I always think about when I make a video. When I post comments, it's different, because I had like a different mentality going into commenting before I started making content. So I just try to be informative with my comments. It doesn't always work out, but I think that's another avenue for people to exercise their freedom of speech, their right to add an idea to something. And if it happens to be kind of a cringy, or like a roast or something that's kind of off color, or not exactly kosher, not exactly the best thing to say, then that's on that person to recognize that, and then if they like change in the future, or just accept the consequences. I'm definitely not for telling people not to post certain things. Like, I think you should be able to post whatever you want. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I wanted to open this up, talking about content. And then there's another topic I had to add or after this. So whatever somebody would like to add, we can proceed with the next topic afterwards.
Double I, you want to go first?
Double I.
There's a lot to dissect right there.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Go dissect it.
Dissect it, because
Dissect it.
you covered multiple things. You covered, you know, time of need. You covered, cult, a
Yep.
cult.
Well, like an
You
actual cult, not like somebody's interpretation of what a cult is. Like a physical group of people that treat other people as watched objects, and refuse social interaction and control social interaction to the point where those watched objects have no more agency with who they with whom they interact with.
Yeah,
So
I'm very familiar with the definition, more
Mhm.
so than you, because whether you realize it or not, the construct around you has that capability of control, and you're blind to.
Right.
Right. So yes, I'm very familiar with it, especially knowing that I have friends that are within cults and stuck within them, and also I have friends that have left cults, and I have friends that have left and gone back and come out again. I've seen a whole spectrum.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
So
Wow.
a very good example that most people on this forum are, I guess, familiar with, or most people on this show are familiar with, is Arpaz. So he was part of a cult in a sense, and when he came out of that cult, he was able to give information to people that have been inside of that specific cult. I'm not going to give it any name or anything like that because it's pathetic. But
It is its own thing in its own right. We can't
no,
really
no,
talk
it's
about
not.
other
Well, like I
people's.
said,
We can't really talk about other
It's not.
people's thing because
It's not.
it's one thing if it's.
Its own
I look at
right.
it like
If you
this.
want to talk about it, if you want to talk about that, Tico,
if I may,
hold on a
if I
minute. Hold on. Let's clarify that, right? It
Uh-huh.
is not its own thing. If you want to talk about that, it was
Well,
it was an anomaly created less than 200 almost 200 years ago in
no, there's a
Pittsburgh,
lot of things that
Pennsylvania.
there's a lot of things that are created less than 200 years ago.
Right.
I could think of like 17 religions that were created 200 years ago, less than
But
200 years
literally,
ago. But
by definition, it's a cult.
not really. Well, technically, all religions are cults if you want to get technical.
it's a religion, and I think as a religion,
All religions are cults
it does
because,
have
like
cult-like elements
Christianity,
to it.
Catholic faith, all of
It
them are
does have
cults
cult-like
once you
elements
think
to it,
about it.
but like
I
think about
agree
it.
with
If
you,
I could use an
but I'm
example,
saying this one is
if I
more
use an
so
example,
controlling than others.
Nah, I think Scientology is more controlling.
if I could use an example, it would be like saying like a comment on YouTube contains elements of hate speech or something like that. But
Mhm.
because it does, then we should like limit the capability of that person to post on other videos and make content and stuff in order to clarify their position more. It's kind of like if you take the cult elements of that religion, which it contains some cult like elements into it.
Some.
No, there's no denying that. There's no
We
denying
could
no
break it
denying
down, man. I'm telling you. I've sat in those meetings. I know what a
right.
cult is.
No, and we're not trying like that's what I'm saying. When it comes to reviewing and analyzing content, we're not trying to tell somebody that their experience isn't valid. What we're actually trying to do is trying to say that, okay, you came from this certain background. This is how you think. We're not saying who hurt you or anything like that. We're taking their message and we're
Who programmed
putting it up on the bulletin. Yeah, even though it may or may not be a programmed answer that somebody told them to do or to say, because that's what cults do. They train you on how people are going to approach your cult, and so what I think is great about the whole YouTube thing is that it was never individual person's job to control the ship and the comments and stuff on any YouTube video at any time. Granted, it's become like a whole department and stuff, and that's a completely different topic. I just wanted to talk about how in a positive way how people like develop their online personalities. That's all I'm really trying to get at with this topic. And even though I did cover the cult thing in a video of mine, it's not meant to direct or steer this conversation into like dissecting cults. It's more just like saying what do you guys think about like an anecdote like that, like Arpas? Like he could have been what if he said something about the witnesses or something, the JW or whatever, that a lot of people say, hey, we should put this up, we should make this more public because people need to see how much of a the certain cult like elements, and make a decision whether or not they want to join. I mean, that's within his right to do. And then for us as content creators, it helps tremendously, even though it's something we don't necessarily agree with. So I think it's all included in the process of making content and of watching content. Is like, you have to understand there's going to be stuff that you don't agree with, and then based on that, tailor your subscription feed to either be the masochist that I am sometimes, and be like, I want to watch a bunch of stuff that I don't agree with because that's the best use of my time at this moment, is because I feel this way about what I believe. And then for some people who are, like, as Double I was going to sort of talk about, in a time of need, those people don't need to be like constantly berated with like a bunch of stuff that challenges their viewpoint. They just need, straightforward, plain and simple, just validation, And I know that's a word too that gets tossed around, that we don't really treat. We kind of treat with kid gloves, and we say it's bad 100% of the time from anybody. We say you have to get your own validation from somewhere else. But yeah, thoughts on that? Double I, do you have any thoughts on that?
Double I.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
You have any thoughts on that?
I hear what you're saying, but you're stepping on, like I said, when you walk that path, that fine line of talking about cults and things like that, I see your intention. Wow. Hey there, Milo. I see your intention, and going around and talking about the perimeter of that, and I see the direction that you're taking, and I'm glad you're going this route. But just be wareful that there's a lot of people out there that are still stuck in these cults, and they don't realize, and that's part of that red pill, is opening up and seeing what construct that you're stuck in, and understanding that, okay, the construct that you're in may not be the best situation for you. So that's for you to figure out, and that's why it's such a gray line, and so on and so forth. What do you think, Wind?
Interesting.
What do you say, other than Milo? Milo thought he had some
Milo
adding.
already had an idea. He already contributed.
He contributed, def.
Well, he's shutting down, trying to back it back.
Robotic dog.
Play that.
Are you shut down yet, Win?
He's trying to shut down. He's back, and then he said,
"Oh, he's back." And
he backing the fuck up like Juvenile.
Yeah. I think because it's such a wide topic, we don't have to. We can kind of move on. It's not something that we need to address now. But if anybody wants to come back to it, you're more than welcome. But okay.
Well, I think I want to come back to it because I have a hatred towards cults in general, and that's personal.
I don't have a hatred towards cults.
That's for sure something that I want to talk about, because like what is your posture towards a cult? That's kind of like an overarching question. Because
I don't have a hatred towards cults. I just look at it like this: that's your thing. You do your thing. That's your bag. I really don't care about it. You do you. You live your life how you want to do. That's how God basically said it. Free will. So.
Everyone has
free will, right? You're saying free will, but at what point do you say, okay, free will has been taken over?
Well, no, I'm talking about God gives you free will, basically.
Oh, yeah,
do whatever the hell you want. So if that's your decision, I respect it. It's kind of like if somebody's racist to me. If you want to be racist, that's your thing, that's your bag. As long as you got conviction in it, I ain't got no problem with it. I stand by you 100%. But like, I don't agree with you, but I stand by your conviction and why you choose to do it. But I don't agree with you 100%. But hey, that's you. That's how I basically look at cults and everything else, basically under the sun. That's your conviction.
I
Do you?
choose I choose to look at it kind of the same way, and like I don't like to fight a battle that's pretty much useless. And it's like when you're approaching a cult, you have to realize that they're prepared. Like I won't mention the one that I'm talking about in particular, but one came through for me in like a customer service setting, and even though I wanted to, I just decided to say, oh, who knows what the truth is about this topic. They were just so adamantly no, but then this religion can do this, but then why can't we do this? So then like they're so armed to the teeth with inoculation and just things that what would they do? They make somebody feel like they're defending the faith so much, and it's not really worth it to mount any sort of attack towards them, because they've pretty much done a lot of work mentally to get those people to capitulate to their worldview. And like I don't really like having to argue with somebody that does what they do, and I kind of look at them as like on an island. It's like I wouldn't bother them. Like if I came to an island and there was a bunch of people that believed a certain thing, I'm not going to try to convince them or change their minds about it. But like if an individual from that island comes to my place, then I'm going to try to tell that person, like, don't go back to that cannibal village, like they eat people there. But something brought you here, so that's where I find most of the more productive discussions is not when I'm like. And when you have to realize when you're talking to somebody who's part of a scheme like that they are it's not just you they're talking to, or that you're talking to. You're talking to every single person that person's interacted with in the past, however long they've been a part of the cult, because that's how they work. They work as like a hive mind. So you can't convince a single person to leave. That person has to be split off, or fall off the boat, or fall off the wagon, or create.
That person has to be separated.
Yeah, that person has to be separated physically and mentally, because, like, for example, in the Christian faith, which I'm not going to spend this time denigrating it because I have family members in it, but they have this thing called missionary, where people build up, enough resources and stuff, and do preparation to go and spread the word of God. In different places, and they might even spend time doing philanthropic work there too, like building houses and stuff like that, and building schools and things like that. And so those people, there's no way you can turn those. There's no way you can like convince those people to like change their faith. They're pretty much like warriors for their faith and stuff like that. There is a movie though with starring Liam Neeson where I think it's called Silence or something like that, where it's about a missionary kind of doubting, but it's very rare that you'll ever be able to convince somebody like that who isn't intelligent, who isn't of the right mind to sort of think critically about where they're at.
Well, the sad part about that is that basically ranks the people that think that way or that can argue that actually rank up there with the lady who was bathed in the blood of Christ that went in the church, basically.
Yeah, there's no conviction.
There's no point in arguing with that. Basically, you can't argue with crazy for the most part.
You can't. You sure enough can't. And
there's a lot of smart people that can manipulate you into it. Then there's a lot of people that are just out there crazy that you'd be like, you know what, this is not even worth my time.
Right. I mean, there's no way that you could have convinced them to do that anyways. Is what you're trying to say. There's no way you could. Because they're pretty much looking for that from the word go. How can I, like you said with the people you're talking about earlier, maybe it was backstage, about opportunists.
Yeah.
People in the or people who are asked to perform certain like public public events and stuff, and they're not really the title that the group organizing puts on them, but they have that image, they have that allure, and they speak the same language, so that everyone basically treats them like they're legit. They legitimize that person for him. That he doesn't even have to do anything. He or she doesn't even have to do anything.
Yeah, and they just basically put them on the
Well, like I said, that's an amazing that's an amazing feat for somebody to be able to do that. But I think that there's a lot of people out there who have another another destiny, and that it may seem alluring to want to join up and be a part of something like that, but then you have to look at the pros and cons, and you have to pretty much say, well, how does this go against my values, and what exactly do I value, and are they offering me something that's going to change the way that I value those things that I already value. And a lot of people don't have that choice, so it's important to take stock of like, see what do I have going into this, and what can I actually gain by getting out of it. That's probably why I think the way that I do about YouTube content creating and commenting and things like that, because like everybody has a chance to to think before they post something, and just because other people don't take that time doesn't mean that you should join in on that. You should probably just not, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel right for you. So using me as an example, I was making just like a random video like that, and it led me down a rabbit hole to where I was like, all right, what else can I talk about? So instead of posting without really knowing what to talk about, I like did more research and I looked into things more, and then I learned exactly what my subject matter was that I wanted to talk about, and that made it easier to make consistent content, because I had a foundation, I had a base to work with. If that makes sense. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I urge everybody to find a base, or find a base of operations or something, some sort of a set of things that you saw. Maybe you've already made a video, so like with that video, just set aside a few things that you see as being a main part of that video, or a main part of what it is that you think about on a daily basis, and then that's your starting point for how you start to make videos. And it might change, but the thing is like, you're going to be the one that's changing that, because you're aware of where it started, and you're aware of what it is now, and no one can really change. Or you kind of have like the first take, or the first step, and you kind of set your terms out from the beginning, so that you don't become a part of somebody else's scheme, and to make the long story short, there's a lot of people who are now part of communities online, where they kind of go with what everybody else ends up posting, and it's just like, it's sad to see that happen.
Roni Dillinger, really, dude?
Because
really?
They're young people. I don't know, like, it's different when you're like, you're older and you have like the experience to back up you're crazy. But when you're not, when you're young and you're just full of crazy, and then somebody uses you as a structure, it's just more sad to see. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like vamping and going off, but I think that I don't know, there's just a lot of lessons to be learned. Yeah, and I don't know if
Oh, good lord, that was Psychesoap. Roni Dillinger, aka Roni Dillinger.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so I don't know how many people are watching right now, but I wanted to kind of ask or brainstorm. What are some other ways that you think that we could deliver content and like life lessons and stuff.
Animation.
I know that like a few people have video game consoles, so that might actually be another avenue that we could try some
Animation.
No respect.
Okay, Rony Dangerfield. Okay, got it. Yeah, but like, yeah, that's a good way. Video games. Not too many. The irony to that is like, despite the fact that a lot of people talk over video games, like it's very rare that somebody actually breaks through with a video game channel for the most part. If you're just doing nothing but video games, basically, it's very rare that you'll break through unless you find a niche. And like, it's very hard to pick up a niche in the video game community for the most part, unless you're like spitting content like your Birdman or something like that. But usually Birdman had a bunch of followers any damn way, so it's like one of those things where like he's just basically
on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter and stuff like that.
He created a social media management position in his own milieu.
Mm-hmm.
Like so he manages that very well, but it's like he's also like a gaming he's also like he plays a specific genre of game, whereas like a lot of MiGTOW gamers are more generalists, because like that was what I've noticed is like they don't really play one game necessarily, they kind of like bounce from game to game. And so that's another thing that's I think holds people back, is that you can't really find a niche in gaming when you're just like a generalist and you just play one game type. Like what I noticed is like a lot of people, they stick with one genre, you know, because it's hard to just play one game. But if you focus on one genre, you know, that's different. It's like you actually have a little bit to work with.
Yeah, like you focus on one genre. Like I try my best to focus on one genre. I'll try, like the shooter genre is like usually my favorite ones to go with. If you ever notice with a lot of my videos, even the mech ones, they're pretty much shooter dramas, but they use mechs and stuff like that. So I try my best to stay in that type of niche for the most part, where like basically running gun or strategy gunning and stuff like that. Because that's what I like best and that's what I do best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, well, like it will be, yeah, because it's like if you have content like that you spit over your game, but then you suck at the game, does that take away from the content, or like
sometimes it does?
It's like, oh, why should I listen to this person when they're just dying all the time in the game? Well, it's like,
I know a lot of people that die all the time in games. Shit, I watch a lot of Birdman dies a lot in games. Gundam dies a shit ton in games, but I still watch this shit. So it all depends.
Psychesoap, you suck. Stop playing that game.
I know. I know.
Yeah, people do talk shit because I know y'all was talking shit on me the one game I was playing, but it was like my first time ever playing a damn game.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to, because you know, lately I've been looking at a lot of different content from different creators, and I realized that there's a whole sect that is just inaccessible to the whole marketing scheme of Red Pill MiGTOW in general, like because it was born online. And
it's like, are you timing people out?
No.
Who the hell's timing people out then?
I don't have my phone in my pocket, so.
That's it. I'm talking about, are you timing people out in the live stream?
Can't do it because I'm not in the live stream. Yeah, I'm in the live stream, but I'm not on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me.
So somebody's lurking in that means somebody's working in the chats timing people out then.
Moderating?
Yeah, somebody's lurking in the chat moderating people for the most part. It doesn't look like it's Karen as that's not Karen as ML.
Maybe it's Pence rule. Pence rule.
No, brother, I gotta be in YouTube before I gotta time a brother out.
But
I know you have a wrench. I had to ask you, and so I decided to ask one of them too on chat. This is MiGTOW on the win. It's the only person I can think of right now is MiGTOW on the win.
Time people out. Oh my goodness.
MiGTOW on the win's a dick. He's
But like even use Win as an example. You know, it's like he's a gamer. we are all trying to make YouTube, and I was agreeing before I started too. We're all trying to make YouTube videos, not to knock YouTube videos. Like I said, everything online even has like this cult-like element to it. Because when somebody posts on a forum, people check back to make sure that thread gets developed. It's basically the same thing, and I wouldn't consider that negative. But when you've developed a lot of your personality and a lot of your, let's just say, smack talking or shit talking skills by playing the game, and then you try to become a radio show host, it's more like that radio show content is derivative of what it is that you have done previously. Because it's not to say that anyone who does that is bad at doing the radio show content. But it's obviously derivative. And that's why it can be hard to explain to some people because they don't come from the same background that you do. But I mean, we all tend to know what a radio show is like and what a radio show entails, but not necessarily what gaming at a different level than like most people is about or has to do with, living the good life, for lack of a better word. And So how can we adapt, or not? I guess not adapt, but bring back, or have a renaissance, and so to say, when it comes to the original form of like a lot of this content that we're making, in terms of like on YouTube, if we don't actually stay true to the origins, like the whole gaming thing in general. I know Psychesoap doesn't have a game. Or doesn't really game that hard, right? You don't really game that hard.
I'm from the old school, son. If I'm ever gonna game, it's gonna be some Tecmo Bowl going up there, some motherfucking Mike Tyson punch outs and shit.
Mike Tyson punch out? Wow, really, dude?
I'm gonna take you back, nigga.
Yeah. Oh yeah, take me back, dude.
No, it's Red Pill FM.
That would be so cool. That would be so cool if you did like a live stream.
I'm a throwback gamer. Fuck all that.
And you had Mike Tyson's punch out.
Hey, Cam Petey, chill on the wrenching.
Yeah, but shit, Piggy's there,
Yeah, Cam Petey, chill on the wrenching.
You still want Piggy still listening?
Okay.
She's fine.
All right.
As long as she behaves herself, I really don't care.
All right.
Because I mean the
a view is a view is a view. A view is a view is a view.
You're right.
I don't want to get dragged off topic, but that's something too. Is that we'll find an audience that really like. And apparently, Double I can't get on the stream.
Yeah, no, I sent them a link to his phone.
Oh shit.
Hold on, guys. I got to do one thing.
And speaking of the wind.
Wind, are you policing in the chat right now?
No, it's Cam Petey. It's Cam Petey.
Oh yeah.
It's all Cam Petey. Damn, Cam Petey.
Cam Petey. Go in on the motherfucker. Go
Cam
in
Petey,
on
do you play those video games?
No, he's not in the chat. He's in the comment section.
Hell yeah, Lily.
And who just fell out now? MiGTOW the Wind fell out. Double I Zen. Ironic Zen, aka Ironic.
Underground Elite. Don't try to sound all gangster with me. I'm about that life too.
Ironic.
You got bean dip in your drawers, girl. Change your diaper. Depend wearing ass. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, it's Cam Petey that's actually policing the the live stream.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's Cam Petey all over the place right here. I gotta see his name. It's fine.
Well.
He didn't know.
Cam Petey.
He's on it. At least we know somebody's on it. Karen didn't have to show up for work today.
Alrighty. I'm too busy beating up people.
Goodness knows I'm not trying to see that. Peace. Anywho, how y'all brothers been doing? Shit, man. It looks like it's opening back up in my neck of the woods. How about y'all?
Yeah. I see that it's opening up too. So I mean, but then people are saying it's going back to normal, which I think is it's just very silly to say that. I don't know. Hearing the way that a lot of people talking.
You here now, Len?
Like,
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm here.
God damn it, Wayne.
I was talking with MiGTOW. I was talking with MiGTOW Savior, and it kind of messed. And once I got back on the live
welcome,
stream,
Seeker.
it kind of messed up the audio and stuff.
You're fine.
Yeah, you good.
Hey, Seeker, are you a gamer by trade or by craft?
What's up, Seeker? Seeker in the house. Yeah.
Damn. I was about to get the light show out.
Right. Bump,
Yeah.
bump.
Let me rock you, that's all I want to do. Check it out. Let me rock you.
Right. Soul Train for Seeker.
Bump.
Bump.
Burn, baby, burn.
Y'all are tripping. Y'all are some thick individuals. Y'all need to stop. Y'all really need to stop.
Tico Costa.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He actually worked. He said he worked in the gaming industry. Seeker said.
Oh, bomb! I mean, like, so like Winda said once in a video of his, he's like, a lot of the content creators that do the roasting, they basically make it harder for smaller channels to come up. I'm a smaller channel myself, and it's kind of like when a game, like when people are like when it comes to gaming, it's kind of like people who cheat or people who grief or people who or the not even that because that's another topic entirely. But the Twitch thoughts.
Yeah,
because I grieve too. But Twitch thoughts definitely they take the attention away from the people who actually care about gaming enough that they want to make that like a pastime and not just a place to make money. Like they and who knows, they probably ruined a lot of gamers like future when it comes to like making money and stuff, because they basically saturated the Twitch channels with just ass and tits. So,
but that's how it goes, fam. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, literally. Matter of fact, a plug coming soon. Cartel Princess and her friends starting a Twitch stream.
Well, see, there you go. So it's like everything that was in the male space, it seems to be hijacked by the opposite sex, and now that it's sort of cool, or shit that was cool in the 90s. Like for instance, check this out. Wrestling, right? Now guess who got a hold of it? Prison, even. Guess who got a hold of that? Look at Prison. The premier Prison show was Oz. Guess what the premier Prison show is now?
Orange
is the New Black. Okay, you got another thing, sports. Pick one.
Football, bikini football.
Or lingerie league, baby.
Yeah.
Legends league or whatever. That shit was kind of cool because one of them chicks had an arm like motherfucking Dan Marino, man. Like, and she played for Miami too, fam. Like, what the fuck? And then there was that one in Pittsburgh. I think it was Pittsburgh or Chicago, and she stacked and hit a motherfucker like she was in the NFL or some shit. Like, no, man. Hey, but that type of shit. But that's how it is, man. And it seems like, but the real motherfucking space, the real male space that people are more comfortable that men stay in, that they dare not go to unless they want to marry the motherfuckers, is prison. Real talk.
True story.
Maybe we should send them there. Maybe we should send them there.
Very true.
That's the male space.
I think I heard. Who did I hear say it? Like a lot of the feminization pretty much makes it where prison and like jail are the only places where like certain people feel comfortable. It's that kind of routine that gets that
word.
Yeah, I was saying that because like there's a lot of people that get out of prison or commit a crime just so they can go back to prison again because it's easier life for them. You don't have to make decisions that everybody making decisions for them and shit. There's a lot of people that actually like prison better because it's easier.
Yeah. Or like if you look at a lot of like that movie, the movie Shawshank Redemption, it's like before somebody say his name like that. What's his name?
John Coffey.
Morgan Freeman.
No.
John Coffey. No, I got it
confused.
Yeah, Tim Robbins is the character. Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne, yeah.
Andy Dufresne. Before he goes to jail, he's almost like trapped in his own world with his wife and everything, and like the whole situation, it just he has no control over. But when he goes to jail and escapes from jail, he's more free than when he was before he went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that shows like that there's some sort of aspect to that mentality of being under the control of somebody else that like gives you some sort
Damn,
of
Ken Petey was going in. Ken Petey was going in on her for like wow.
Had to make her pull out all the accounts. So now all those accounts are public now. So
Yeah, the thing is, like, from my observation, from watching family and friends, marriage is a sliding scale of a prison. Either you have just basically in general or you're a fucking gulag.
Yeah, or your position in the jail changes depending on your frame.
Right.
Like you're the warden of the jail.
Right, and like
control everybody.
Basically, is that me, robot? Is scratching like a
Yeah, that'd be you because you just fell out. That'd be you. Okay, much.
Is it me?
Yes, sir. And then it kind of sounds like somebody's eating corn chips on the mic.
No, that's just somebody got static in their mic. That's all. No, somebody's eating. Definitely eating.
Yeah.
It ain't good, ain't it? Just my shit.
That's Yam, probably.
It's me?
God damn it, Yam!
Put your roots in the water. They're dry. But I was saying,
Yam.
Yeah, it was him. Shit.
Yeah, the static's gone. The staticky eating the sound is gone.
We'll
wait for him to come back. Oh, we'll continue while he comes back.
All right. I'll say this: like it's a sliding scale of a prison system or a POW camp. Either you're in a POW camp that follows the Geneva Convention.
Was it me?
Or you're in a freaking gulag.
Yeah, that was you.
Or you're
the statickiness was me.
Yeah, the statickiness was you. Yeah.
It went away. Like, okay, I'm gonna switch devices.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. God.
It's like
damn it.
But I was saying this, or you're in a gulag where it's okay to beat the crap out of the prisoner. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like which is crazy that people put themselves through this BS. And like I've seen it from the outside. You know, I've seen it from the outside of people of men having two black eyes but can't say nothing.
That's what you're talking about with the different category of MiGTOW, like the category that has never been married but has been in a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think
or never been in a relationship at all. They've either been married, not in a relationship. There's a couple categories. Ones that never really been in a relationship at all. Ones that never been married. Ones that have been married and been taken to the cleaners. Then there was another one.
It's all of them.
And it's
it's every kind.
There's the ones that dodged it.
There's the ones that seen other people go through the shit and they dodged it themselves. Like, fuck it.
No, yeah, that would probably be me because I was in a relationship and then I basically through my own stupidity managed to not have it get to where I was like actually ruining my life. Like it was like I had to mess up in order to realize that I could have really messed up.
Right.
And for me, it's like,
I've had
Really? Hey, MiGTOW on the Wind, did you see this?
See what?
Yeah, you did good, Yam. I mean, shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we gotta, bump our head a couple of times and shit.
Crap.
Before we get ourselves
Told
through
you.
the door, you know what I mean?
Told you were.
Wow.
Who fell out now? Yam fell out again.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
God damn it.
I'm getting tired of you, Yam.
Brother.
You should have kept your You should have just kept your damn phone where it was before.
Yeah, man. I get no respect.
Yeah. Put your roots in the water.
MiGTOW to win. You might want to address your asthma problem here, because apparently you have asthma. I was not aware of your asthma, and I never was told, even though we've been friends for like a year and a half now. I've never known about your asthma.
Oh, when does
I wasn't aware of my asthma problem either. I'm actually surprised that I'm still in the National Guard, and I've been in the military for like freaking 11+
That's
years.
so weird. I mean, it's like
out.
Asthma is one of those conditions where it's like, if it's like don't ask, don't tell.
I mean, come on.
It's like if you don't have asthma, if you have asthma, no one notices that you're fine,
and you get a passing score.
Yeah.
How am I still in?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's like that's one of those things too. It's like if you look the part, and if you can like match the level of intensity, it doesn't matter what kind of person you are, because you fit into the mold.
Well, no, if you have asthma, you're not going to be able to match the level of intensity, though. That's the problem.
No, you're not, because it's like I've been.
Especially if you went to the Marines, you're definitely not matching that level of intensity. That's like trying to be. That's like trying to be. That's damn near trying to be like a Navy SEAL and trying to make.
I can't swim. I can't
swim.
Yeah, I can't swim. I can't swim. If I can run.
Yeah,
I ran through. I'm surprised.
I think, but to me, I think
I run into a Navy SEAL that couldn't swim. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I think.
Hey,
I think
they've laxed the requirements to that.
Yo, I got a question, Double I. Was he black?
No, he was not.
Well, he wasn't Jamaican.
He wasn't black, but he wasn't white either. Just saying.
He was Latino.
Well, I just think that it's like, unless the standards are created by like some divine entity and they're not man-made, those will always be subject to change, or to what the man in charge has to say. Like, even if a person has those flaws, they can still be a part of the organization. Like it just none of the actual ethics or professional, or not a professional, but just the standards or the integrity. None of that really applies if a person's in charge of it at the end of the day, because that person always is like, it's just up to somebody else. It's like they can be bought, or their friends can be bought. They can be threatened to change, and it's like, unless you're completely completely separate from human influence at all, it's like you can't really lead something that well, because you're always going to be.
It's hard.
You're always going to be like, oh, I have to think about pissing them off, or I have to think about, think about this.
All right, well, it's not whether you. It's one of those things where it's not whether you win or lose, but how you rig up the game.
You ever seen a fat Marine before?
Alright. Have you ever seen a fat tweaker before? Hey, shit.
I've actually seen a fat Marine before.
Same here.
I've seen a fat Marine before. They can sing too.
A fat singing Marine. That's something.
He could sing. He could sing too. He could sing. He was a singer. He was a singer. He was a sang. He used to sing all the time. Sang. Yep. Yeah. He was a sang, man. He was a sang.
Kill that karaoke.
It ain't over till the fat Marine sings, They used to say it ain't over till the fat lady sings, because that's like a rare thing back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Too many of them bitches singing.
Yeah,
ain't that right? What's her name?
What about now?
Megan Trainor.
Be nice.
It's a half a chorus.
Lizzo? What about Lizzo? What's your thoughts on Lizzo?
She can't sing at all. She sucks.
Hey, Pence, do you happen to be a gamer at all? Are you a gamer? Gamer friendly?
Yeah, I like to game.
I'm a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
I like
I've been getting into those anything that has
Call of Duty.
any genre that has survival in the title. I'm pretty much a fan of right now. Survival and roguelikes. Those are my two genres. So if somebody makes like a horror survival roguelike game, which I just found, which is called Remnant from the Ashes or whatever, like those kind of games I really like. Anything survival.
Do you play on
anything,
PC?
No,
on the computer?
it's originally for PC, but they're sending with the DLC. They're gonna try to like revamp the console edition to like be just as good, which it never really is, you know. But anyways,
What? So you play on the console?
Yeah, I play everything on the console.
Console sucks. I mean,
Yes, it does.
Fuck
the console.
PC Master
No, you know
Race.
what? I've actually been thinking about going mobile because it's like I do so much.
Mobile Master Race. Mobile Master Race.
The whole like content creating thing is not really for a console gamer. Like if that makes sense. Like or like that's not even content creating, but just like red pill MiGTOW stuff. You can't really be a console gamer and be that because you have to stay in one place.
Yo, yeah, brother.
I
wouldn't put too much thought into it, brother. I wouldn't put too much
way
thought
better
into
than
it.
console. Anyway,
yeah, mobile is at least better. Mobile is at least up there with PC in terms of somebody being like a content creator.
If it was,
so.
If it wasn't for the fact that I ain't got the setup, I would probably hook this Xbox to a Elgato system and just basically stream like that.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like what I've been doing, but there's no accessibility for me to like change things up. Like it's not like I can host it. If I could have a StreamYard with my gameplay for my PS4, like I could definitely cast it, but it would be in one of these boxes, or Tico could blow it up and I could be playing it. And I can maybe have other panel members.
I can actually do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just that's what I'm saying. Like that's part of what I wanted like to do is like figure out. So what's everybody got? How can we like have something for people to look at?
Too, I think about it.
Yeah, just with forum because I got like I said, like MiGTOW on the Win over on Table Flip and stuff, and then like Duzangs and Sherm with their shows. It's like the StreamYard works perfectly because you guys like never run out of stuff to say, and it just flows really well. But for the other shows,
that comes with experience, man. That comes with experience.
So, like we still don't know what day we're going to do the forum on. Basically, that's the problem. So, like, we don't know if we're going to do it on the Thursday. We don't know if we're going to do it on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, or Friday.
We're doing it on the Thursday. See, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here, this motherfucker.
Well, no, it was basically a stab in the dark today, basically, because I didn't know if anybody was available.
It did work.
It worked,
Hey, speaking of stabs in the dark, I got a video game idea I want to pitch to y'all.
Yeah, what's up?
All right.
If it's about stabbing, I'm all for it.
Right?
It might have
it would be like MiGTOW Studios presents a game. Like we're actually making a game.
Yeah, like this. Like, we're gonna call it MiGTOW in the Wind. There we go. MiGTOW in the Wind, the video game, and Milo will be the companion. Oh,
that's
shit.
awesome.
And he can hop in fucking semis and shit.
It's like
truck hijack semis,
battling pistol trucks and shit.
Horror
delivering shit.
Truck simulator.
Oh,
my God. Dodging the Roni.
Bro, your video game will be on. Where you at,
man? And it's a roguelite. Like if you die,
you need a game based on you, bro.
I think we need to make I think we need to make a live show around Wind. Like take for instance, throw a camera on its front, dashboard. And just like follow Wind. Where's Wind today? Let's just see where Wind is.
What game? Where's Wind today?
With his what's it called? His
GPS.
GPS, yeah. Where's Wind today?
Where's Wind going today? Let's see. Let's see. He's got 24.
Left.
95.
Instead of the crocodile hunter, it's going to be the Wind hunter.
Yeah, the Wind hunter. Yeah.
Seeker said, "Unlock the dog. You gotta unlock the dog." You got to unlock Milo. with special
Milo's next level.
Milo's an
Milo's
upgrade,
yes.
You take him out. If you take him out 5 times, you get an achievement.
Milo's DLC content.
Yeah, he's a DLC. See, this is good. This is like what I was expecting, because we all like we know so much about gaming that we can literally like. I feel like we could have like a Red Pill studio, like Red Pill gaming studios, but we don't have like a lot of programmers. But once they all get Me Too, they'll be looking for a job. Once they all get blacklisted, like James Damore, they'll all be looking for a job, and we could create like just a Manosphere gaming studio or game productions studio. Where
Let's
help
do
everybody. Yeah. And because I was looking at my backlog.
I think I'm gonna do
I was looking at my backlog and like thinking which of these games are like the best for teaching life lessons, not even necessarily centered around like no marriage, no cohabitation. Because everybody had, you can always play The Sim for that.
You want to make MiGTOW and the Wind's channel more popular?
What?
if he basically just made videos while he's recording Milo.
Oh yeah. He would
he would take off for no damn reason whatsoever because of the damn dog.
Well, you'd have to just like
absolutely.
You have to just be like, all right, I made a mask for Milo. Just make it something like socially relevant. Like I made a mask for Milo, or Milo and I are locked down. Here's what I do with Milo because you can't go out to this place. And then you would just
he can literally speak MiGTOW content, and people would just come to him because of the dog.
Dude, I think Milo should. I think Milo should do Red Pill doggy canine content.
Right?
Yeah, be freeing some of these other dogs from the Matrix, and then
all of a sudden,
some of these dogs,
no one else does that.
You tell them you have the treat, and you tell them to sit, and they're just like, no. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Would you say Milo went Neo on his ass? No.
You'd be like, Milo, like who hurt you, Milo?
Who hurt you, Milo? Right? Oh, goodness.
The great dog architect.
Yeah.
Or like you're getting hit on by a thought, right? And the thought is saying, "Hey, MiGTOW Wind, hey, can I have a ride in your big truck?" And then Milo's like, and MiGTOW and the Wind is like, "Yes, you are correct, Milo. This is a thought trying to get in."
There's Milo in the back.
He's like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that's the shit right there, guys.
I want that.
She's scanning me. This thing is scanning me. Is that a Penske truck?
This thing is sterilizing me." Yeah, we all because like I said, when the Tico system finally comes up, and then everyone has to be sanitized and stuff. There should be at least like
the Tico system is going to be kind of like a Sim/Minecraft type of a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sandbox. It'd be like a sandbox. Yeah,
sandbox.
Yeah.
Get ready for punches.
Free room.
Yeah, because sandbox games are really good for like counseling.
Yeah,
like they're really.
I think they should do that in all supermarkets for the most part. Make that where like one door opens up, you come in, the other door opens up, the other door the outdoor basically opens up first. They come in, then the indoor the door where you come in at opens up first, and they come in. Then the people who's leaving the store, that door opens up, and then they spray those people. Mm-hmm. They close both doors, and they spray them
through the outdoor, brother.
Because the current system's like inefficient in the sense that like only you can't really clean you can't do a good job of cleaning if you have no regulation of who accesses the clean products or not products, the clean like items.
Well, no, that's why you spray everybody that walks into the store.
The cleaning solution.
Right, exactly. That's
why you spray everybody that walks into the store. That way you know your store's clean. Because you're done pretty much you pretty much sanitize everybody walking in the store. Or like I said, basically just open the open door and basically open an open door, everybody walks in, you spray them guys. Then you let the people walk out. And you shut the door behind you. You shut that door. You open that door. Basically, you open that door. You let them walk in. You let the other people walk out, and you basically close that door. You let them walk out, and you walk.
Because right now you see
walk in basically.
Right, Tico, like you see a lot of people protesting that they don't have PPE.
Or better yet, you can do it with the revolving door. It's much easier. Get like the really, really big revolving door that got two sides, like the hotels, the fancy ones that the hotels got. You basically make them walk in and just sprays them as they're spinning around for the most part.
Thank you for entering the Tico system.
Yeah.
And it has that fucking elevator supermarket music in the background and shit.
When you walk out of it. When you walk out of it, your ass smells like peppermint.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty much elevator music any damn way.
This is the Tico system. Whoa. Yeah.
Imagine Pence rolling in there like just listening to DMX like DMX, you want it, you got it.
What's up with you? Whoa.
I'm telling you, these things are coming, and our anuses are going to smell like peppermint soon.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm telling you,
and they're going to be televised.
Elevator music in the future, because you can if DMX is elevator music in the future, you can imagine what type of shit we're listening to then.
Wow.
That's not just for elevator music.
Somebody's on the elevator.
It's probably going to be like a bunch of fat women singing.
What is banging around? What's your poor CPU unit GPU? Who programmed you?
Who programmed you?
Who misprogrammed?
Speaking of which, I gotta buy me one because shit, my old system, it's on the blink, man, and I need a more immediate way of making. So right now I'm therefore tapping my feet and waiting on the motherfucking system to get here.
Wait until
because I gotta build it all together and shit.
Wait till the new one comes out, because then all the other shit's gonna drop in price.
Rolls, what do you think about all this craziness?
What craziness?
that we just mentioned. We just ran all over the place with shit.
Yeah, Psychesoap is a video game. I haven't even mentioned that yet.
Campaign.
But what do you mean by craziness though? Like all the like the Roni stuff or what?
The Roni stuff, the decontamination in the supermarket doorways to anything. Elevator music and rap music.
Anal cleansing in the bathroom.
I see all that now. Now you're just cutting.
I'm just saying. Hey, look.
What the fuck?
If you want your ass to smell like peppermint, you got to get it done.
Are you adding stuff now?
Double I.
I'm done.
Put peppermint bidets in the fucking thing, okay?
He's talking about the enemas now.
Enemas. No, not just enemas.
What the fuck?
What are they called again? Those things that squirt on your ass when you sit down.
Okay. I have a friend that got tired of going to the supermarket for toilet paper, and he actually installed a bidet.
That's a better idea. Just saying.
That's basically what they do in the Philippines to some degree.
Well, like, there's no need to like protest for lack of PPE if you're just like 100% positive everybody is clean in the store, so that you don't have to worry about snitching on people or like making them feel bad because they don't want to, suffocate themselves.
Yeah, Karen.
Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Because if the stores all had like the thing on it, you might as well, because at this point, if you're going to go automated, you might as well just get like sprayers in the doorway, because you ain't going to have no employees to work anyway, except for the ones that fix the damn machine or operate.
Or immune. Or people who are immune.
Yeah, I ain't working at no damn Walmart.
I ain't working at
that shit.
Shit, I don't like people. I don't want people that much. I like to truck.
Like, it'd be like Star Wars, like how they just cloned Boba Fett or whatever, Jango, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Boba Fett.
They just clone Tico and then make Tico every Walmart employee, so that way they can work in Walmart.
Because at the end of the day, like I always say, a nigga might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards, and those are below my standards. I'll shop in the place, but I'm not working in the place. I don't like people. And you'll find out very quickly, none of my clones like people either. We'll all be
Yeah,
fine.
they'd just be all in the Walmart, just like assaulting employees.
Yeah.
Pence gets a screen.
Just some misanthropic motherfuckers.
Pence is at work.
No, this was a couple of my mates. They work in the courier business. I just play it quick.
Okay.
Shit, the fuck is what the
So
fuck
Pence-
is that guy gonna fuck?
Hence, your namesake keeps walking around like he's immune. What's going on?
That's like what is with that gag of fucking boxes?
So, like, they had just opened up the courier the other day, and yeah, they just have to be delivering a bunch of packages and stuff now, I guess.
Okay.
He said there was another truck waiting outside too.
Oh, you're fucked. Is that too blunt?
Yeah, Mr. Foreman's fairly off. Like, holy crap. I wish I'd have sent him a text message and put a link to get in. Foreman in the house.
Mr. Foreman in the house.
And that motherfucking van, man, crashing through the billboard and shit.
Crashing to the building.
Who's using a drill right now?
That fucking van to the
Me.
billboard.
I can pass my spot to Mr.
I am
Foreman.
sorry.
You're fine.
It's either that or duct tape.
Let's see that duct tape. Okay, anyway.
Anywho, what's going on over there? Duct tape.
Drill bits and shit, right?
Drill bits, duct tape,
don't forget the duct tape, mouth, and don't forget
robotic
the nose.
devices.
The little
man,
tiny holes.
y'all
Poke
have
little
no
tiny
idea.
holes so they can breathe. Make sure you duct tape the mouth and over the nose and poke
Yeah,
little
Petey
tiny
was
holes
going in
so
on
they can
that
breathe.
was funny as hell.
Can't beat
He was going in on what's her name in the beginning of the damn live stream. I hope it's not blocked. That means I got to go to YouTube jail and take her out of damn jail again. Like she didn't really do
PD
anything
is
wrong.
like trigger
As long as
man.
she behaves herself. As long as she behaves herself, I don't care if she's here. It's a view.
PD's.
Can't beat him, man. All I ask is just a little bit of consistency. Like, you can't be,
Damn.
you can't be talking one game over here and then banning a bunch of people who comment. That doesn't make any sense.
He's over there ripping them apart.
Right? I just remember that video.
I mean, I support what you do. I'm just saying, like, from outside, it looks just kind of. It looks like you're kind of like not really sticking to one thing.
Hey, Jess.
It's not my right to say that.
Don't forget to use the duct tape over the mouth and over the nose. Poke little tiny holes over the nostrils so they can breathe.
Yeah. You don't want to suffocate.
Anywho, back to the actual topic. Yeah, because I was basically talking that out with Yam and Double I missed the whole damn conversation because he didn't come to Discord in the chat, and Dennis about what should we do with the shows and stuff like that, because I said we're gonna have to cut a couple of the shows because there's too many, and like I know everybody's getting burned out, so we have to at least cut one show a week basically and cut it down to 4. That way we can actually make it so. And I said if we do 4, if y'all two do 4 of them, then MiGTOW and Tren could do table flip for the most part. That way you ain't gotta. If you want to jump in table flip, you can jump in table flip. If you don't want to jump in table flip, you can. You don't have to worry about jumping in table flip. And I was just going to employ Psychesoap to basically jump in either. I was just going to get Psychesoap to either jump in Relentless or.
If you're paying Psychesoap, my salary is going to be.
No, I'm just saying I was going to get Psychesoap to either jump in Relentless or Savages, or True Sharp for the most part.
I'm just picking on you.
But I was just basically saying trying to like thin it out that way everybody doesn't feel like they're all over the damn place for the most part.
So wait.
Hey, Double I.
Okay, either table flip, fucking Relentless, and what the fuck?
Savages.
Savages with Duvang?
Yeah.
That boy's strong in the face. No. Hell no. Look at that baby.
That baby's strong in the face.
He look like what's your name and who shot you? No. No, I don't.
Not today.
This ain't school, man. It's
Double I.
Yeah.
Shit, it's all good. Too much though.
No,
there
but
you go.
It's either gonna be like I was gonna pretty much put MiGTOW in the wind and table flip for the most part.
Hey.
That way I have one other person to come, and then like I was gonna have Double I and
Brother, I pretty much have a roving schedule, and
like if they want
I'm
to
on call, so I can
jump
jump in on all of them.
They're too thin. They're basically they're being used too thin for the most, or they're being spread too thin. Damn, that's the word I'm looking for. Shit.
You want to hear something? This is what it would sound. This is what it would sound like before when Double Eyes Victor wakes up.
Okay, whatever. You're a sick individual.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on a minute. What makes you think they're victims?
What makes you think they're victims?
Yeah.
It's called chloroform. Chloroform works, doesn't it?
No. Seriously, man. I get a lot of people asking me to tie them. Oh. I get paid to tie people up.
Hey, Double I.
Just saying.
Hey, yo. What's up with this comment that Mr. Former got? You want to weigh in on that?
That comment.
Mr. Former got a. Hold on. Let me put my fucking glasses on. Is this young boy gonna?
You know he's old.
You know man.
Let me see what this young man has to say.
Okay.
So, been a lot of
Put
talk.
the Puma glasses on.
Of that. What's this? Demon lady? Any thoughts? Oh, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, that lady. That's that lady that they had in the
Spirit cooking.
Yeah, Microsoft commercial.
Cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I ain't never heard of
weighing on that.
Abramovich, yeah.
A spoonful of adrenochrome or whatever, right? Is that what it is?
Something crazy like that, yeah, adrenochrome.
So basically,
you put me in a tough spot.
Hold up, Wayne. Hold on.
Hold on, Wayne. You put me in a tough spot, Mr. Forma.
So, like, I think that
I don't know if I mentioned to you or not, but
go ahead, Double.
He's under oath, right?
Oh my low shit.
Yeah. Microsoft is one of those companies I cannot talk about. Sorry. Connections.
Well, I don't really have anything about Microsoft, but about the whole Abramovich thing, it kind of gets to what we were talking about at the beginning of the forum, with like how I started out with making content and stuff. Cause like I am like on the West Coast, without doxing myself. But West Side. But like one thing I noticed is that I think like when it comes to being creative, people aren't really confident in their skills because of the mainstream media and the indoctrination and stuff like that. And it makes them think that they got to like sign all these contracts and sign all these deals and stuff.
Well, it's not just contracts, but it's jumping through hoops. They're also in dire straits and in need of help because a lot of people move from a different state and they try to come make it here, which it's like I wouldn't advise anybody do that right now. Like it's just not. If you don't have a support network here, it's just like not a good idea. Unless
if you really look at it, it's about to be the other fucking way around. Where
people got to go inland.
California's finna turn into Michigan here in a minute if they don't be careful.
Right.
California would be the new, it's like LA is gonna be the new Flint. Yeah, that's basically what it's gonna be like.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're totally right, man. And what I wanted to say about that, like this whole Abramovich thing, is like, I think that a lot of people who are creative, I mean, I wish we could make I really wish it was the case that we could all make like a blockbuster movie and then go our separate ways as people. I think that we're totally capable of making something that affects millions of people and then at the same time not really feel like we have to be like a clique and be best friends and do talk shows with each other and be all buddy. But I think that's actually that's a scheme that MiGTOW in the wind.
Yeah. Yeah, bossy.
See why? Damn it.
Hostile.
I'm about to kick you out of the cult right now.
Man.
Wow. Did he just put wind on notice?
Yeah, he should.
He put him on blast. He put wind on blast.
Hey,
just pet him with the mute button on, man. That's all I ask.
Damn.
Figure you crazy, man. Talk about dog unlocked. Hell no.
MiGTOW community is one of those vids. Fresh start. Wait, who? Oh, I think he's talking to somebody else.
He's talking to Pence.
Anyways, yeah. I think that we don't have to, like, even with content here. It's like we don't have to be the closest of people like that. I don't think that that's what creates the best content. I think what creates the best content is all of us being individuals, you know. And about the whole, stuff falling out with Hollywood, it's just the media looking for more of a story. Like, all this stuff isn't really important in the first place. I know, like, parts of the men's rights and parts of like the Christianity and everything, like being anti-Satanism and anti that stuff. I'm definitely not an advocate for people, practicing all of the like rituals and stuff that actually harm people. But like when it comes to this, the media, they're just gonna take anything that they can get and roll with it. So I wouldn't really pay too much attention to all this stuff that's going on, unless, like I said, unless you're willing to approach it with an open mind and like do actual research, not just go based on what the mainstream media is saying about it. Because all this stuff can definitely cloud your mind and make it hard for you to do what you want to do in the first place, like do something that you actually enjoy. So that's really that's really like my thoughts on that whole thing, because these people were all in this one spot making movies and music and whatever, and they had a private life where they did some messed up stuff. Right. But like, there's no doubt about it. I mean, how much the media is gonna like blow it up and make it seem like super crazy. Like the
media's hiding it, right? Like the media's in on it.
Well, they have been exactly. So then now they want to go talk about it. It's like, come on, that's just like, they're just playing all of us.
Well, sometimes they end up talking about it once people are dead, right? Like that English guy, that Savile. Like they knew about him for ages, and then they finally dropped all the stories after he was dead. So they know about it. They know all about it, but they're not pushing certain stories.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, Pence, I think they're leaving that up to some of the more countercultural or like non-mainstream sources to cover it, and then they're going to censor it. Like that's like the cycle.
What it's let me tell you. You're saying about cancel or counterculture?
Both.
Counterculture.
Counterculture is basically within the same realm, anyway.
Now I understand what cancel culture is, right? Cancel culture is this. It means it's like if you have an opinion that you ask questions on. I'm gonna do it in a business sense. Say, for instance, you have a product like a video game, and this they're trying to push this woke agenda, right? And your primary customers are this, that, and the other, right? But it's going against your primary customers. But you have something to say about it. Then they accuse you of. Then they say that you're being this, that, and the other, right? That's cancel culture. Am I correct? What the fuck? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, the cancel culture is like is kind of the same as counterculture, but it's just more organized, because counterculture just says do what you want.
Aggressive outrage, right?
The free love movement was counterculture for some reason, even though most of America didn't really try to police what it is that you did in your own bedroom. Kind of was against that because of the core principles of like the founding fathers. They didn't want anyone really coming into their house and telling them how they could practice just practice. It's like, we talking about practice. That's basically what America was founded on.
Right.
But then you have like counterculture, which is, I think, is just like a 70s or 60s and 70s thing. It's not really like cancel culture has more of a organized like basis, but counterculture is just like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to not agree. It's like, you say that families are strong. and they promote, welfare in society, I'm just gonna not agree.
Some of the counterculture is like bought, like YouTube has that team of 10,000 going around doing stuff. Like they're able to create, extra moderators if they want, right?
You're right.
They really make anything. You look at views, they can make those. Think about it like a game developer. Any object in the game, whether it be an Easter egg or glitch or anything, is possible because the game developer put it there. The only thing that really exists in that unknown section is like an exploit in the game that the developers haven't been able to patch yet. And like the same thing goes with content. There's only a certain amount of topics that people can talk about until somebody shifts the discussion into something that's more esoteric, and then that blows up an entire new field. Like, for example, in Idaho Shipbuilder, who knew that building ships had anything to do with MiGTOW or Red Pill? But through the lens of Idaho Shipbuilder or Idaho Model Shipbuilder, it invaginates more content. It basically creates more things with which to communicate this message with.
And I've had to change my way of speaking on YouTube to a more esoteric, to a more generic esoteric way. That it also has a way of pissing the moderators off, because they go after me. That means they go after their financiers.
Well, think about it, man. Like the whole smack talking stuff has been completely taken away from most men who go their own way in general, because of like the Twitch thought thing, and like the male, and like what Psychesoap was saying, like all the male spaces being managed by women if they can't be infiltrated directly. Like if you can't put a woman in that spot, the man in that spot has to basically be like Homelander from The Boys. Like he's the most powerful person in the entire story, but he answers to the woman. And so that's, or like think about it in terms of athletes and stuff. Russell Wilson has to be the most respected man in football, but he has to answer to Sierra.
Oh boy.
Yep. I'm telling you. That's why like we was talking about the Jay Cutler thing the other day. Jay Cutler had to answer to his wife at some point or another, especially when it was getting to the point of the divorce. And let me speak to a little bit of this counterculture thing too, because I think SFO or Dev from Short Fat Otaku had this shit, you know what I'm saying, on point when I watched this the other day. And I had said this like a couple of like 1 or 2 weeks ago, that we, the ones that can think for ourselves outside of the mainstream that we do now see, are the new counterculture. Okay, because look, counterculture considered in the 60s and 70s was a break from the norm of the 50s. The norm of the 50s that the 50s said, this, whatever it was, the established cat that had the American dream, so to speak. Nowadays, they kept putting all this so-called counterculture in our face from the 90s up until now. And now you noticing, and Black Pigeon said this shit right too. Because back in 2005, and you bring it all the way up until now, a lot of entertainment sounds the same. A lot of that shit is either an adaptation from a book, it's a sequel, or it's a fucking remake.
Yeah.
A reboot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just trying to
think about it,
which is what necessarily like a renaissance is, but it doesn't, none of this stuff stays true to its origins. Everything's derivative.
Everything's derivative.
Everything's derivative, but these derivative pieces are, they try to act like they're not chained to the philosophy that they got most of the aesthetic idea from in the first place. Like look at for example, the Star Wars movies. Like the first one, shot for shot recreation. Every single long range shot was basically copied from the prequel. However, and all of the plushy animals that could be, turned into toys were obviously included. However, not really any of the. It doesn't really retain any of the. It retains some of like the emotional weight, because those images are tied directly to an emotional feeling that you got when you first watched the prequels, which is how they sort of like play with your emotions a little bit. But then they change up the character. So instead of it being Luke Skywalker, it's Rey. And Luke is just a bone.
Boom.
And
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And so they're sitting there with a template.
Yeah.
Basically. They're sitting there with a template and they're fitting these characters. And the only thing that they're changing are slight tweaks, slight quirks with the characters involved in these scenarios.
Yeah.
Basically all they did was they basically changed the they basically have a way to make all the male characters look like bums. That's all it is. They're taking all these male characters and replacing them and making them bums.
Yeah. I mean that's
part of where they get the superiority complex from, right? Is that they're like, men are portrayed as, bumbling idiots or whatever. They're just sort of portrayed quite weak.
The habit.
You onto something, Pence Rule. You onto something.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, women are like somehow like they're always having to be the ones that adapt, and they're always the ones that have most of the oppression thrown on them. And whereas like men are like comfortable creatures of habit that sit and watch TV all day. And that's definitely, that's like exactly the way that we're portrayed. And that's, for me, that is not mutually exclusive from counterculture, because what they're doing is essentially they're saying that culture was free thought, and then now counterculture is now you fall in line with what everybody says is correct, right? Like you fall in line with the interpretation. Which I think the MiGTOW community is probably cancel culture towards that idea of right now in counterculture, which is like saying free thought is really the new black. Free thought is the way of the future. But we have a lot of opposition because, like I said, we try to argue with people who don't want to. Or like Tico has said, but like I try to make an example with like the multi-level marketing scheme. It's like we try to argue against something that has a vested interest in blocking out all other opinions.
Right.
So we try to colonize with our views instead of just like building up what it is that we have already gotten.
Right. And the thing is, like, we also,
how can you go against someone who's already
so many of us, so many of us are focused on what other content creators are doing, that it takes away from their message. Instead of getting it all out at one point.
Keep on.
Instead of getting it all out at once. And dealing with the aftermath as it comes, they get distracted, and it happens a lot. It's been happening for a while. It's like, I mean, most people wouldn't have known that Undead Chronic was back on YouTube again.
Right. Yeah. And it kind of like goes to show you that even if a MiGTOW content creator wants this thing that he values to take him past the realm of YouTube, that the YouTube algorithm and the YouTube cult of people, not to bring everybody underneath one umbrella, but they don't want you to leave. And that's kind of like a lot of people, they sort of pigeonhole people who comment, who create content, to say like, this is how you do it right, the way that we want.
Starting to be that crabs in a bucket type of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't just join MiGTOW.
One try to roll out
MiGTOW,
the other one.
And that's what's happening, and it's like it's struggling.
I actually think it's all right if people want to leave MiGTOW. I just hate how some people want to throw mud on the way out.
On the way
That's
out.
right.
Just,
That's right.
Yeah.
But as far as
why I
just
say-
leaving, that's fine. I mean, everyone's free to do their thing, but it's when they potentially build up an audience,
But
then
that's not-
leave, and
they
then
don't
decide
hate
to say,
MiGTOW. They hate the YouTube. They hate the whole thing where they have to televise everything because they feel like they're being personally attacked. But they have to realize it's not MiGTOW that you hate. It's just like it's YouTube. So and it's like it's kind of like a philosophical thing because like at some point, even though doing the work for MiGTOW is important, you at some point need to differentiate that with the real world. Like you have to sort of like say like, okay, am I supposed to be doing this forever, or like kind of like what Wynn says, is this a temporary solution, or like what is this? Let me think critically about where I am and how I was thrown into MiGTOW and like how do I get out of this? Like, you know, like it's fun to be in like the survival game or a survival mode and just to see how long you can go. But at some point you have to also realize like, what are you trying to accomplish in this? Is it to be the marathon runner, to do things for the long haul? Or at some point were you planning on leaving and doing something else? And has that been overshadowed now by, you know, what it is you're doing?
I don't know what's going to happen. For me, it's like I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, I could find somebody that makes me lose all rational thought and end up on plantation. You know, I could roll my truck and the only survivor is my dog. You know, I could anything can happen. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like anything can happen.
But I think the point is that
it looks like the plantation, so she could think she's on a plantation.
The point is that
if I were to leave,
before the red pill though, I mean, did you start out red pill, Win? Because you necessarily now you make whatever happens to you happen, even though anything can happen. If you continue to make videos and you're martyred for it or whatever, God forbid, like that, or if you meet a girl, like all of that stuff is now put into perspective for you, and so essentially you'd be making it happen as opposed to just letting it happen to you. So.
For me, it's like along the lines of that I don't want to leave MiGTOW like these other individuals. I want to leave it on good terms.
You want to make it better. Yeah, exactly. You want to make it better.
I want to leave it on good terms. Because eventually everybody's going to need a couch to sleep on. You know? Every human, every person everyone has slept on a friend's couch. Everyone has slept had to go back home at one point. Everybody's had to sleep on the floor just because some stuff happened. Everybody slept in their vehicle, at some point slept in their vehicle or in a vehicle because some things happened or because of some sort of requirement. It's like what I'm saying is you at least want to have that couch when you have to come back to MiGTOW. You know?
I agree.
Wouldn't that sound funny? I remember when I was applying for this one job. You said talk about sleeping in a car. It's probably not the same thing, but I remember that I was in Costa Rica, and I remember that my drive to work was about like almost like 19 hours. So like I literally drove there the day before, and I mean I literally drove there the day before and took a nap in my car basically, just so I could be all ready and rested for the interview, and I got the job, which was actually pretty funny. But I literally slept in my car before the interview.
Yep.
Just so I can get this damn job, because I knew I was gonna be tired by the time I showed the fuck up. Like that's the most I ever slept in my car. But yeah, I think I went to sleep for about 5 hours in my car, waiting for this interview to start.
Makes sense.
But I got the job, FYI. But yeah, I understand what you're saying though. Like there's going to come a time when like, and the sad part about that is like I've always been that friend that people whose couch they actually needed for the most part. I've never actually been the friend who actually needed the couch, but I've always been a friend friend that people could turn to who need a couch to lay on or somewhere to lay their head down, basically, and shit like that.
And it's that's what I'm saying. It's like you at least want to have that couch, even if you give up your room in MiGTOW, you will at least have a couch to go back to.
Yeah, literally.
You know?
Then you can work your way back up to having a room again.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a thing that a lot of men in relationships go through, where they lose privileges, and they lose privileges for literally anything that they allow to be taken from them. And I don't know, it's not like, I think that that's a result of, you know, social media and everything. Like, whenever you create an account, you have to sign a terms of service.
Right.
And that terms of service basically says that if you say one wrong thing, we can remove your privileges.
True.
That we allow you to have on here.
Something that y'all probably didn't read in the something that y'all probably forgot to read or didn't read in the agreement, the policy agreement, is they can actually use your videos to fit their narrative if they ever need to. So like all the videos that they take down and strike and delete, they can actually make a montage of videos with your video in it and actually make money off of it. So your video actually belongs to them. Your videos actually belong to YouTube.
Yeah, if you have any hate speech or anything, that what they
I'm talking about your videos literally belong to YouTube. It's kind of like creative properties. If you go to college and you discover something or you invent something, it belongs to the college. It's the same thing with YouTube. If you actually read the policy thing in depth, your videos literally belong to YouTube.
How I circumvent that is in the seminar, I make sure things aren't recorded, and I say what's on my mind. I create things in the seminar, but then I don't really write the papers the same way that I participate in discussion.
Yeah.
So it's like I really get what sort of the ownership that people have over certain things if I sign an agreement, you know. Mm-hmm. But I also know that there's certain things that regardless you're not going to have power over me for, and that's one, what I have to say, and two, it's like my right to agree or disagree with what it is that's being preached on this platform. And I generally I agree with most of the people, if not, I like their right to say it. I don't really like wrenching or I like wrenching, but I don't like deleting people's comments or saying people shouldn't comment or shaming people for commenting. That kind of gets away from gets away from my purpose here in the first place, because I'm not trying to control what anybody does. Yeah. Whether directly or indirectly, because that's a whole nother facet to it. Is like you can be trying to dox people, or you can be posturing and saying like, well, whoever doxes people is just like fucking just the worst. Or not dox people, sorry. You could talk about censoring people, but then be like, whoever censors people is just like, so, I would never, like, censoring people is just so beta. Or I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing with that though is to answer Mr. Former's question is they only demonetize it for you. They still get money off your video no matter if you're getting money or not, for the most part, Mr. Former. Oh, right. That's actually in the terms of agreement. Like they can demonetize you, and all the money, you're still collecting money on your video no matter what.
Yeah,
you're still collecting money on your video no matter what. It's kind of like how my video always makes money, but I don't see any money from my videos on this channel. Like I think Seeker was telling me the one time that my video had a commercial in it or some shit like that. My videos have commercials in it sometimes, or was it Valhalla? One of them was saying basically my video has commercials in it. So YouTube is making money off of it no matter what.
Right.
No matter if it's, because the sad part about that is they know that people watch these videos and they know how many views these people get. So therefore, they're going to demonetize you just so they can actually get all the money, all the revenue, ad revenue from your shit. That's exactly how it works. It's not anti-MiGTOW Federation. It's more so fuck MiGTOW. I want to take your money for the most part, YouTube style.
Yeah,
that's what it pretty much is.
The person who we won't mention, man, she hates MiGTOW so much. with just the burning passion of 1,000 suns.
Yeah, literally.
She
But the
is
sad
so
part about that
opposed
is,
to it. And I'd be like, if I met her in real life, like if I got like my if I got invited to like the YouTube convention, you know what I would say to her? I'd be like, who hurts you? Honestly, why do you hate men?
YouTube convention?
Why do you hate men? They used to before the Roni got out. But
Doesn't she have like a history with what is it, Tommy Sotomayor or whatever, with that community?
wait, she tried to be in a relationship with Tommy Sotomayor?
No, like that's part of the reason why he's.
You know, I saw a video
done
with
stuff.
with her and Juice WRLD, the band who passed, rest in peace, the artist who passed, and she was like, "Don't worry, we'll get your numbers up," like almost saying that they're gonna like artificially bump his content up. It was like at a party or something, and I was just like, "That is so sketchy. Why are you talking to this man like that?" Like,
the sad part about that is what they'll do. What they'll do is basically they'll take all the views from MiGTOW and they'll shift them over to that person for the most part. They literally would take some subs, or they would literally like take any potential subs that you would normally get or projected to get, and they'll shift them over to this person and give them to that person. Is how it normally works.
Right.
Hey Valhalla, what's up, pimp?
It's like background fuckery.
Yeah, that's what they basically do, background fuckery. And what you mean, Valhalla? I mean, what do you mean, Seeker? More details. More details needed. Was that to me, or was that to Mr. Forma, or was that to somebody else?
So you know how you said you couldn't talk about Microsoft?
Mm.
Can you talk about Epstein's private island?
The only thing I could say about that, yes, I can, because Epstein is off limits, or not off limits to me. His private island, man.
He better not be off limits to you, man. What the hell? Come on now. Get him, Double I. Come on now. Keep going. You know what I say.
Epstein's table flip, but knock it over.
This ain't table flip, is it? Is this table flip?
No,
it's kind of like that, but it's not. It's a
knock it over.
All right,
it's a
so I'm trying not to keep it.
Yeah, you know to never stop talking. If Psychesoap does an interjection, you know to never stop talking. You got to keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. All right, it's like that. What we do is wrong. And Jay-Z goes,
Epstein's Love Island, right? That's one thing, but that's just one of them. That's just one of them. The one, that's most focused upon right now. There are so many Love Islands. So if you talk about people, okay, so you know how I say, I joke about duct taping people and how they're volunteers and everything. I'm not joking about that part. They are actually volunteers. So, there's people who actually pay me to duct tape them. I'm not even fucking with you there. All right. Do I have any active duct tape participants? No. But have I had active duct tape participants in the past? Yes. Where? Well, it wasn't on U.S. soil. Let's just say that, like there's different places. If you look at North Korea, they had a fucking floating hotel. So if North Korea can have a floating hotel, what makes you think that other countries, now let's look at Resident Evil, right? Remember that oil ship that was converted into like a floating fucking hospital?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the floating hospitals that were already converted that we use, right? So we have medical ships that are floating hospitals. What makes you think with all those oil tankers that, we've had in the past, that those didn't fully get scrapped? Some of the good ones were converted into movable islands. Think about that. Let that swirl around like a fine glass of wine for a little while.
What and is this the Epstein breeding project?
I'm giving you a step up from that, right? So you're concentrating on what Epstein did with just one island. I'm talking to you about mega yachts and things like that. Things that don't really stick out.
They stick out like a sore thumb, like a boner in a pair of sweatpants.
Right. So when you think mega yacht or yacht, right? What do you think is a mega yacht?
Moving island.
Yes, a moving island.
But most people, like if you go to Miami, right? You look around Brickell and downtown Miami where there's a waterways and stuff like that. Most of those yachts are not mega yachts, and those mega yachts are not super yachts, right? So there's some really big yachts that you'll see. And off the coast of California, Orange County, and also off the coast of Miami, I've seen yachts that kind of resemble warships.
Yeah.
And I've been on those too. So let's see. Let me give you an example of one. I'm sure you've heard of the yacht called Bread. It's actually up for sale right now. Northrop Grumman, I think, had their hand in making that. I forgot who made it. But Bread was a really good mega yacht. And that's a great example of a yacht that you would not think is fucking phenomenal, right? So from far away, it just looks like a fishing vessel or whatever. But you get on Bread, dude, the countertops alone are worth like $15 million on some of those, some of those yachts, right? Yeah. I'll dig up some pictures of Bread when I was on it in Miami. I spent about 2 months on that boat.
Now, right there, I'm gonna go ahead and say that is counterculture right there. Like just taking your party off of the offshore. That right there, to me, is like an example of people saying, you know what, this place around me that I live in right now is just not suitable for what it is I want to do. I'm gonna say basically like, I'm just gonna go make my own, pleasure island on this yacht. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, like that's so outrageous. But like when a person has so much money, and I think about it too, like who do they contract out? Who do they commission to like build the interiors of these places? And like, their level of clearance. Like I'm sure that people like Double I, people like certain engineers or certain like architects and stuff are kind of like go-to. So they'll be like, all right, yeah, for this mega yacht project,
He knows the DLA. He knows to keep it quiet, sort of thing. Is that what you mean?
Well, not even that.
You got to keep it hush, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll always look for people with experience who's been initiated already before they seek somebody. Like because this is all stuff that if you think critically about it, you'd be like, I don't want to take part in this. But if they've initiated somebody, or if they find somebody who's easily susceptible, who like exhibits signs, and this is why we have to train ourselves in certain.
Yeah, it's basically what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say, Yam, is they're more likely to pick Double I before they pick me because I'm more likely to say something about it or say something very rude about it because I'm an ignorant motherfucker like that.
or in a different way, it's like if they know your price point, you're easier to approach. But if they don't know your price point, they're likely to get turned down or have somebody call you a piece of shit. Be like, the fuck.
Here's the problem though. With this counterculture, it's hard for you to even see it. All right, you. So I'm not talking about anybody else in here, because I'm more familiar with your setting than anybody else's. So as far as you go, there's absolutely no way you can penetrate the inner sanctum of that counterculture.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Number one, you don't know where they are. Right? So number one, you don't know where they are. You don't know where to look for them. You don't know how to get on and off their boats. You don't know how to get in and out of their houses. You don't know how to set up their, networks. You don't know how their connections are. You don't know where their bunkers are. You don't know where their fallback, plans are and stuff like that. Their disaster recovery.
And in many cases, we don't even know who the hell they are.
Precisely.
I actually hear stories that some of them have like secret places here in New Zealand.
Yeah,
that's why Epstein is a phenomenon, because he's like so close to the Hollywood part of it, but he's also so close to the non-visible countercultural part of it. And it's like Hollywood was starting to blend into this whole like cancel culture, which I think is like different than counterculture. And so it's like he's like in a very ambiguous position, which makes it easy for him to be the target of any inquiry, like that's where people want to go to find answers, but he's more of just like a singularity and not really like you will always say the dead end, and you'll always end up being like, oh, I'm just sick of what these people are doing on these islands and stuff. And it's like you don't even really know the scope, which I think would take knowing how to get access, because like knowing how to get access to those places, or at least expose those places. But if you ever got close, to doing that, we all know what happened.
You would disappear. They change location.
Suicide, right? Mm-hmm. Suicide. Two bullets back of the head. Suicide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're offshore, different laws pertain to you. So, just
the thing about the whole entire suicide thing is, they have people like me that can actually make anything look like a suicide. And the sad part about that, how they did that very poorly, and they did that very sloppily for the most part, by my standards. Like, dude, I could have got my 6-year-old to do a better job on that shit if he wanted me to
do a better job.
Like,
on that.
he'd have probably did it for $25 and all you can eat pass at fucking all country buffet.
Let's just say,
like I'm just saying,
you're right about that, because how deep does it go, man? Like, instead of getting somebody to off you, I'm gonna find some girl who looks pretty, and I'm gonna like doll her up and teach her how to be very, submissive, be the ideal, the Nawalt. And then I'm gonna get it into a situation where because you believe in love at first sight, you're a blue pill simp. This is the person that you are, but you've gotten a little bit too close to the inner sanctum. Mm-hmm. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this woman, carry you into, the plantation, fill your mind with a bunch of stuff, fill your belly with a bunch of food, empty your balls or whatever, and keep you relatively pacified, and until it's time to let you go. And then what I'm gonna say is like, all right, now do the thing. And then she's gonna basically make you feel like you and your kids and her and all your friends are just out, like leaving you. And then you're gonna accomplish the job yourself, and I don't have to. You're gonna off yourself, and I don't have to really use any sort of rope.
The sad part about that is you can actually teach a woman to do that in a matter of months if you want to, or a week. Oh, you can get a woman. You can pretty much get a woman to do any damn thing you want in a week. So, in all technicality, it wouldn't even take that damn long for a woman to actually. For a woman to actually agree with doing something or get over something or convincing a woman to do something, you're more likely to have problem with convincing a man to do something than you are a woman, because of the moral compass in a man for the most part. The problem with that is there's really no moral compass in a woman, because she can always overlook something for some other reason. If it betters her goal, or if it betters her in a certain financial position, or it betters her lifestyle period.
She's pretty much fluid in a bunch of rigid standards that us men put down, right?
Yeah.
And like, look at all these pro-women initiatives that popped off after 2008 and the months after. You saw a huge rise in women participation and or occupations in the STEM fields and things like that. You have to attribute that actions to men who inspired the women to do that in a matter of months. Who basically built them up in order to take these positions, and gave them the mindset that it was all right to study this field.
So the sad part about that is a lot of the women in that field.
I'll be right back.
Okay. The sad part about a lot of women in that field is they didn't get in it because there was women in it. They got in it because they were inspired by men already in that field.
Yeah.
They didn't need women. They didn't need women to get into the field that they wanted to, because they wanted to be in the field because maybe their dad or their best friend or their grandma or their granddad or a person that they looked up to was in that field for the most part.
All the wrong reasons.
Yeah, most of the women who got it, well, I'm gonna say 97 to 98% of the women who got into like STEM fields and stuff like that, all got in because of a guy.
Yep.
A guy inspired them to get it, not no woman.
Or,
a guy did.
Or even if you look at the medical fields, for the to be rubbing shoulders next to a guy. Like a lot of women get RN, get the nursing degrees and stuff so they can meet a doctor.
Yeah, literally. Literally do that. They literally do that shit because that's all they talk about when they get there.
They can be the They could be the wife. They could be the first lady.
Doctor's wife, yeah.
Okay.
The sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize about that is like, shit. A lot of the lab techs basically get their jobs just so they can meet doctors, because that's all they talk about is the doctors. That's all the phlebotomists talk about is the doctors. How cute that doctor is, when he looks like
how do we synthesize this? How do we do this? How do we create new things? And they're like, oh, look at him. Look at Tico. Tico's like doing stuff in the workplace. I'm gonna try to like approach him. And then they get
There are 3 types of female truckers.
Yeah.
The ones that let's say this, the 3 types of female truckers. There's the ones that want to try to get into the field because they want to expose some policemen. The ones that got into a field in hopes to meet a man, because they see all these trucker couples, and then there's the ones that got into a field because they were desperate. The ones that got into the trucker field to try to police and expose men for what they are the ones that they're disappointed for this reason, because the 10-hour mandate, the 11 on, the 10 off, leaves in a 34 reset, leaves little to no area for them to find a man who's doing any type of dirt, and if they do, it's usually on a rare occasion.
Yeah, it's like they're looking for reality TV in a blue-collar work environment.
Pretty much, it's like it's a rare occasion. We don't have enough time to do anything to pick up any trash that we might end up pulling out on the road. We barely have that time, and that time is usually spent either checking out your truck, cleaning your truck, showering one day, washing your clothes the next, and freaking feeding your face or driving your truck and doing your job. Depending on what your job is on the truck. If you're a box fan, your time is spent checking your truck and making sure everything's going to work. If you're a flatbed, you're not only checking your truck, you're checking your trailer and the load. The ones who got into the thing to look for a man, they're going to be disappointed for this reason. One, they're going to find out that the 10 on, the 11 on, 10 off mandate is going to wear them out. It's going, like I said, that's why you get home time. They're not going to know how to take home time, but they're going to be worn out, especially if they go flatbed. Because you have to
I got a good way of relating that to the discussion that we were having previously. I mean, take somebody who makes YouTube content, for example, like Tico. Like for a woman to catch up and be aware of every single thing that Tico and/or Panal has said in all of our videos would literally take somebody who's just like fucking either Rain Man on YouTube or just has like way too much time on their hands. And like most people want a life outside of their hobby, right? So like the thing is like when you see content creators who obviously have way too much time on their hands and weren't really trying to hit you with that much stuff, then they sort of like the women on YouTube tend to go through them pretty quickly. Like they'll be following them for a minute, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, all right, I've used you for all of your attention and your resources. Now I'm gonna move on.
Right.
And so we'll keep on making, and we'll keep on making, and we'll keep on making. Yes. And we'll keep on making content until somebody just randomly stumbles upon our shit, be it male or female, be it foreign or domestic, and they'll look at whatever that is or whatever this person is talking about, and even if they have heard of fucking MiGTOW before, they do have those little buttons and those little balloons that say red pill, MiGTOW, or men going their own way in full and shit when they pull it up. Whether you were on your fucking your Amazon Fire or Roku or your Amazon box or your motherfucking computer or even on your phone, brother. The thing is that when they do catch upon that shit, they're gonna take to it. They're gonna probably be, attracted to it for a little while,
or pissed off by it.
Exactly, averted to it, or both. And that's the ones you gotta watch out about, because those are gonna be the ones that start to be a little bit obsessive of your shit. They'll get onto your channels and start to trolling your shit. Hint, hint. Yep. And they'll start to talking about how
emotional
you live.
in your comments.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah. And what
keep going.
Behave.
What I was saying is what'll happen when people
I'm being
start
good,
to find,
fam. I'm being good.
What'll happen when people start to find MiGTOW content is essentially they will be excommunicated from their group. Be it like any blue pill group that they're a part of. If they're an athlete, they'll have to probably give up sports.
You are right.
If they're a musician, they'll have to stop producing music, because everything about their life is going to be everything about their life is going to be inquisition.
But you know what is so fucked up about it? You're gonna have to be, in this case, a fucking okay. Remember Martin Luther and the shit that he went through before the Reformation? When the Reformation was coming about, right? Yeah. Certain Christians believe this way, certain Christians believe that way. You might want to just divert these motherfuckers' paths, you know what I'm saying, and get them onto your own way. But then again, you ain't gotta get them onto your own way. This is your own way, baby, that you live.
Yeah.
You dig it?
Well, it's just getting them to question it's just getting them to question the mainstream belief system. That's all that MiGTOW can do, but they can't make it's like Double I has said before, like you can't make somebody live life the way that you live it.
You goddamn right. That's why it's an individual philosophy, sir.
Yeah. But it just so happens that as MiGTOW has created content in the past 10 or so years, we've stumbled upon other men that have been already making their own processes.
Yeah.
And to be in a live stream with 6 other people and let each other person process play out is just it's a beautiful thing, because we don't have to actually I can be talking about something, you're agreeing with it, right? But it doesn't mean that we're forcing each other to do anything. We're just all what is it? We're all
good and true, though. We're all agreeing, and we're all cohesive as a unit for now. Right. But knowing what you now know, we'll all still diverge and go into our separate ways. Don't even, I'm not even gonna knock you for this, but don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Brother, just go into it, man.
Too much, you are.
Just go into it, man. Because as you do go into your journey, my brother, it's gonna be well worth it. You're gonna talk about the shit that you went with Tico, and even in this conversation that you're having with Psychesoap. And I got a door knocking on because I gotta get my pizza, baby. I'm
we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but just even though it's bad to overthink it sometimes, I mean, it's no one else is going to analyze this the same way as I do, so I don't really have two ways about it.
But on to the third and final one. We already talked about the first two, right? But the third and final one, the one that's just doing out of desperation. Now, this is someone who's basically been ran down, who's basically looking to make good money, who's looking to basically get a new life. Well, you're gonna
Well, I agree with you, and the thing is when you go looking for something and you have this magic wand or whatever tool that you have that allows you to get it, you just have to be very careful, because what the new life that you want might be a prison cell, but you're not even thinking about that. You're just trying to chase after some feeling that you're getting, but you don't even know that feeling that you get, or the feeling that you're chasing after, could land you in your next plantation, so to speak. But yeah, that's
Or
that's,
your
that's
next
pretty much,
plantation could land on you.
No
right.
shit. Like Plymouth Rock.
Because if you don't keep your eyes open,
Yeah.
if you don't keep your eyes open and you're going through that construct,
Yeah.
that construct can slap you right in the face and you not even realize it.
Or MiGTOW, the wind fell out. Okay.
Well, okay. So, does it? I guess I can do my outro. I can do my outro first since it's the forum. Double I and I can do our outros.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah. So just to make this like to make this back to like the gaming analogy that we had at the beginning. Like I think that you should focus on. I think you should focus on beating the game first, and then you can mess around with all the little intricacies and stuff. So don't be like Yam. Just focus on getting your money first and foremost, people, because that's like getting your money together is like the one thing that's going to help to give you time to actually reflect on MiGTOW content appropriately and not look for the next big money marketing scheme that you think is going to change your life. But it really doesn't. Things after the revolution, everybody goes home and is pretty much just living their life the exact same way they were living it before we got on this live stream. So it's not like we're making amazing strides as it is, but we're always, every single day, we're trying to show people what kind of mentality that we have, and hopefully we can all relate to this the same way. But it's not likely. So just remember that. Remember that.
I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all not making strides, but I was doing vehicle shopping online.
And do what the fuck you got to do, sir. Both of y'all. Real talk.
Exactly.
You know what? That's your own way.
As I was trying to say, before I got a phone call, it's my uncle, But
outros.
Fuck, where the fuck was I? I was about the third one. But this person's gonna be disappointed, not because of the money, because if you really work hard, you can make a lot of money off this.
Oh yeah,
trucking industry.
Yep, true.
What she's gonna be disappointed on is that this new life that she wants, that she's trying to get,
it's already here.
I mean, it's going to be just as big of a letdown as her old life in most cases. Now there are some exceptions to the rule. There are some women that do enjoy driving drunk, but for the most part, once they find out how much of work is involved in it,
they get out the game and they want to find the man that is in that industry and get with him.
Like when I went to trucker school, there weren't that many women there. In fact, we lost. There came in the class alone, out of the class of 50, there were maybe like 5. But we were broke up in pods. Like we were broke up in pods, like pods of 3 or 4. Now, when we broke up in pods,
ain't that cute?
When you broke up in pods of 3 and 4, majority of the pods are going to be male. I had 3 women in my class.
Mm-hmm. That's weird. But the pods were
abnormally large because people were getting turned on with the money. So my pod was about maybe 5. We lost 1 man, but we've dropped we've lost every single woman at various stages of the progression. I literally but when you lose one, you actually might pick up maybe 1 for every 2 or 3 that you lose. Well, my graduating class had a woman in it. There was the same woman that, when I told a joke, got mad at me before telling that joke. And I told her, "This offends you. You might want to not get a CB radio, because you're gonna hear a lot of offensive shit on the CB radio."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make it plain, brother. What it is?
My favorite thing I ever heard on the CB radio was two white guys. What's up, my nigga? What's up, my nigga? I'm like, wait a minute. What like, how y'all niggas in the holler? What's up, my nigga? What's up, my nigga?
Right?
That shit happens all the time.
Like, what's up, my nigga? What's up, my nigga? Like, what two white guys say?
Sometimes in my job, man, I'll be offending myself because just the way I greet people comes off so white. Like, I don't realize it until I say it. Like, how are you doing today? And I'm like, oh, god damn it, why do I sound so goddamn white? I'm offended.
How would you normally greet a motherfucker? Just, make it plain.
Yeah, just be yourself. Yeah, just be yourself.
Just tell me how you would greet a motherfucker. Man. Like me, for instance, right?
Yeah,
Psychesoap.
Psychesoap, welcome. How are you?
I would say,
hey, man, I'm doing all right, but
nice.
You know what I'm saying? I got some pizza. Shit, it just got here. You want to eat something else?
Not me, shit. What's up, my nigga? I do it at work. I do it anywhere.
Exactly.
I done it in HR. What's up, my nigga?
Yo, this is your way of greeting a person.
This
you know
is
what
me.
I'm saying? Because I've been through the rural and the urban. I've been through the hood and the posh. You know what I'm saying? I've been through the middle America and the fucking eastern seaboards and the high rise.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, give people a little bit.
But not everybody's going to be me, Yam.
Right. Yeah. Give people a little bit of everything when they greet you, just so that they know how don't tell them everything that you know, but your attitude should be like, I've been here before, you know. Like I don't know. That's basically.
You got it.
Yeah, because I remember the one time I high-fived the HR lady and I said, "What's up, my nigga?" She kind of froze, but she continued with the
high five. You had the job on lock, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, my greeting is coast to coast sideboard, directing your insanity.
All right.
What is it? Wait, say that again. Coast to coast
sideboard, directing your insanity.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Do you guys view the N-word differently based on spelling? Like, like GA rather than
It's the same to me. But I really don't. Like I said in the one server, I don't have the same relationship with the N-word like a Psychesoap or a MiGTOW on the Wind does.
Yeah. I guess here in New Zealand you've got.
But then again,
whether you use it with an A or an
with the N-word as Tico Tren does, MiGTOW on the Wind does, Yam does, or even Double I does.
I don't use it that much. I don't use it.
I've actually only heard MiGTOW on the Wind use it twice.
I use it a lot.
Those instances I caught him off guard. He was caught off guard by somebody. Like, what the fuck, this nigga?
There are some instances where Tico uses the N-word, and I'm like, I don't know if that was the best part to put that in, or shit.
Like I said, I don't have the same relationship with it.
And Tico was like, Psychesoap, I don't think that's the best
same with
part.
me. Yeah, same with Double I. Yeah, I notice people say it at just anytime. There's no people don't really have think about the use value of it. They'll just say it when it feels comfortable to them. That's like their mastery of the English language.
Term of endearment.
Yeah,
as it always has been.
The reason I really
is my man Double I back. Okay, go ahead, MiGTOW and Win. Go ahead.
The reason I rarely use that word is because I know the meaning behind it, and I never liked the meaning behind it. It didn't sit well with me, and it just to me, it's like
Let me talk to you too on that one as well, because Win.
Yeah.
I don't like the meaning of the word with it either. I've grown up in the same old school as you have grown up with it. We all listen to them Frankie Beverly tracks. We all listen to the motherfucking Motown. Right. And those old schoolers, if you heard that word, they were ready to beat you the fuck down at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Me, sometimes I'm going off of context. You know what I'm saying? I'm going off a scenario. Because one time, all right, a guy, white dude, I did not know this before this happened. I got home from work and everything, and my mom was staying with me. And this woman, chilled with this white dude at the bar. This woman, my mom, chilled with this white dude at the bar, and somehow, you know, they had this one argument and shit. But then it came back over to my house for some strange reason, and somewhere in that whole instance, he called her a nigga and hit her on the side of the head. A box cutter got involved, and Psychesoap probably wouldn't even be talking to you right now, fam.
Right. I mean,
if I had the proper restraint. You know what I'm saying?
Like it. I tolerate it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it, you know.
You got a point there, and you got a right to say so. But don't do what Ice Cube did. Wait, I'm not done. Do not do what Ice Cube did. Do not do what Ice Cube did on the Bill Maher show. Because Bill Maher called himself a house nigga. And Ice Cube goes, no, you don't have the right to use that word. No, you don't have to. Look, motherfucker, you use the N-word to make money. Your group was called Niggas with Attitude. And you're going to have a problem with this rich motherfucker calling himself a house nigga? Go fuck yourself, bro.
Yeah, I was basically going to.
I'm trying to say is like, get your context in order. And I'm a context guy.
Well, some people like to not go by context.
Comes down, Pence, if you're wondering. Sorry.
Some people like to not go by context. Some people like to just be offended regardless of context. They almost want to be ignorant of context.
They're offended by the spelling.
Hang on, slow down. Let Pence talk. Let Pence talk.
No, he is. He's doing it. He's doing his thing, Pence. Keep going.
I had said it, right? Or did you not hear it?
No. One more time, man. One more time.
I'm sorry.
No, like some people
offended, they don't like it. They don't go off the context. Basically, they just do it to be offended and want to be offended.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. Like they're just wanting to be ignorant of context. They almost want to play dumb to the fact that there can be context. You can say it in like a friendly manner, and then you can obviously say it in a sort of condescending manner as well, right? There's two different ways that you can.
The thing about that, the problem with that, here's the best way to clear that up, though. So this is what I noticed with a lot of white people.
I don't mean
this is what I noticed about white people in America.
Okay.
If one group of your friends allow you to say it, that don't mean the whole entire group of black people are going to allow you to say it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like that, you just got a nigga pass with them. You don't got a nigga pass with everybody for the most part. Because I've seen a lot of white people get beat up. Say, well, my friends let me say it. Oh well, you got to pass with this time.
You're correct. That's right.
And this is something I notice with white women now. If a white woman dates a black man, she feels as though she has the right to say the N-word.
Thank you, Tico.
That's also spelling too, because if you take his interaction and you basically make a screenplay out of it, it makes sense. It says like Kevin says nigga, and Tyrone said, "Oh, what up, my nigga?" as well. But then Kevin goes to Pookie's house and Kevin says, "What's up, my nigga?" All of a sudden, in parentheses, a hush falls over the entire room. The music stops, skids to a halt. Everyone looks at Kevin and says, "Kevin, you done fucked up today." And Kevin gets his ass beat. So that's another reason why they freak out, because they don't know they're worried about, or they're worried about the spelling. When in real life it's like the power is not in the spelling, it's in the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
It's in the meaning.
Everybody wants to take the spelling and try to make it something different, when in fact it's still the same fucking thing, no matter how you cut it.
The spelling, the context, the meaning, the spelling, and the context matter. Hey, yo,
what's the name of that term when the words are the same, but they're spelled differently? Or the words are spelled differently, but they're the same, or something like that?
Hold up, hey, yo, Tico. I want to tell Yam, you might want to get a little screenplay tapped out. You know what I'm saying? Because this one and done, this adaptation, you might want to get a movie tapped out right now while you're over there in Cali.
Well, I have some. Yeah, but I will.
My bad, y'all.
I will eventually. I mean, like the one thing that I think would that I think is just really ironic is like a MiGTOW book. Like when people start saying they're going to write a book. It's just interesting because it's like a lot of the what I was trying to get at with this whole topic on forum is like, where is the origin of MiGTOW come? What medium or art is where MiGTOW found its inception. Is it in cave painting? Is it in cinematography? Is it in writing? I mean, was Lord Byron a MiGTOW, or is that not even physically applicable because it doesn't follow the same idea?
Was the first MiGTOW a porn star?
Or a Twitch streamer?
You need to know. We need to know.
Yeah, exactly. It would really help.
You on to something, man.
It would really help with some context, like what exactly it is that somebody creates in form of a book. How does that actually pertain to the original medium of MiGTOW? Like, say if you wanted to be a MiGTOW gamer, like how can you make that gaming content more authentic by incorporating some other aesthetic idea from a different realm of art, like poetry or sculpture or or painting or something like that, and then just paint the idea from experience.
Word.
Yeah.
Hickory dickory dock. I just bitch slapped your wife with my cock.
My cock.
Simple and plain. Do that shit, man.
All right.
And now she's
I'm sorry.
Now she's holding her jaw on the block. What?
All right, but yeah, no, that's something. Hold on, folks, right now. Hold on.
Wow.
Yo, that is beautiful.
You just not hearing that now?
So Double I is doing it. He's doing the most. Avoid them thoughts, brother. This is what it is, man. This is what it is. Yeah, look at Double I ain't playing. Look at that, brother. Look at him. He ain't playing, brother.
Like maybe that's actually a good point. Maybe the first MiGTOW was a porn star. Now that you mention it,
I mean, you never know, man. I mean, now this information that's coming down the pipe, now that those that did start at MiGTOW are now in relationships, are now married. But if you really look at it, hey, look at Tico Tren. He red pilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
He in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or people that are married multiple times.
If you want to go there, you can go there, fella. But if you're gonna stay on your MiGTOW path, you know what I'm saying, pump and dump, what have you, or monk path, what have you, one shouldn't knock the other, but one should come back to this. All of you should come back to this. Men, we have been just, tossed aside. We have been brushed aside. You know what I'm saying? And we've been holding up society for years. So, fellas, the main, or at least the prevalent topics. Okay, when I first got in, were cults. Then it was video gaming. And then it got into counterculture. I have one question, though. And this is for all y'all. Yo, Pence, are you still here, fam?
Yo.
Right on.
I knew that was coming. Yo.
Yo.
I knew that was coming.
Yo. Turns connected on some. We gonna form some Voltron in this bitch. Hey, yo. Are we in a cultural stagnation?
Depends on where you're looking from.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by a cultural stagnation?
Okay. Everything's pre-this, pre-punk, post-punk, post-that, post-like, post-this. You know what I'm saying?
Counterculture always had something to leech off of in order to legitimize itself. But when there is no culture, counterculture is the culture.
Right? But
there is a stagnation just because of this Roni, right? Like there's actually, you think about the news cycle at the moment, a story would be big and then next day there's another big story, next week another, but we haven't had that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like we haven't had any of that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
I would say this Abramovic lady wants to say that art can be just pure energy and it doesn't have to have a physical manifestation, which is I think to what you were saying, it's the physical content churning may have stopped or culture output may have stopped, but I think with with like all the things that are being implemented now, that the new culture has sort of this like social credit system attached to it, and so it's like it's turning people's life into the culture. Like it's cannibalizing itself. The culture is like almost trying to use the citizens as a jump off point for more information to use. Because like you said, you're right. You're onto something there. You're definitely onto something there with the content.
Finish Pence. Pence, go Pence.
Yo.
He's there. Go
ahead. Finish what you were saying. Your thought. I mean,
I kind of finished it.
Oh, you did.
I got another question for you, though. I got another one for you, though, Pence. I got another one for you because it's not every day that I'm online when you're online. You know what I'm saying? Okay, if we are in a culture of stagnation, will we as humans, just like this Roni shit, keep provoking each other into an extinction level event? Yes or no?
Well, you kind of have to wait until everything opens back up. It's almost like certain groups that were loud before are now looking to see where they're going to position in the sort of post-Roni world, if that makes sense. Like,
right.
Like there's been certain groups that have been quite quiet over this time because there's more important things is, essential workers and, stuff's closed down. So I guess it's more of a wait and see to see how the sort of SJWs are going to react in the post Roni or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good way to call it.
Especially if they get their presidential candidate through.
I think personally, even now we're at a culture clash. We're at a culture clash. It's to where you got. To where you have
you're on to something when
all these different cultures like cancel culture, counterculture, you have all these cultures coming together.
Asian culture, black culture, crazy rich Asian culture, crazy rich Latin culture. Right,
but you have all these cultures coming together, all of them with different
crazy rich white Asian
psyches and all these other different things that make it that have a difference of opinion toward each other. I think that if it continues going this way, it could be dangerous. It could be either near catastrophic or it could be a near extinction event. Because look at the spring break in Florida, where all these young kids went from the northern states, just did not even care about the world around them. Did not care about anything else but themselves. And that's the entitled culture. The young and entitled culture.
Yeah, like from their perspective, everything is fine. There's no need to. There's no need for any MiGTOW content creators to rebrand or that, because they don't even see any. There's no crisis. It's all just then I don't even know how people could be like the rap music is sufficient enough for me not to pay attention to anything else. Like, to be honest, I'm so sick of rap music.
Used to tell a story at one point. Rap music used to tell a story at one point. It used to tell a story about a certain neighborhood. It used to tell a story about what goes on, about people and drug addictions, people and alcoholism, people and the gang, about the life in certain neighborhoods. It used to tell a story.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that real quick. It used to talk about having fun. It used to talk about banding together with your brother. It used to talk about protesting the fucking wrongs in your neighborhood to make that shit right. Also, the negative is there and the positive is there.
Story and give solutions.
Because I was a part of both eras.
Right. And the thing like what we have here is
I'm loving this shit, Double I. Go.
And it was like to me, what we have here is a potentially a whole bunch of
Watch this, Psychesoap.
that don't mesh, that don't want to mesh, that are butting heads with each other. That are literally butting heads with each other. Do not want any cooperation. Do not want anything to do with the other. And that right there. What the fuck is that?
It's
R2D2. Sorry.
It's a segue.
But it's like.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like, it's. What's about to happen is, especially with MiGTOW, even though MiGTOW is going to grow, it's not going to grow large enough to be much bigger, much of a dent than it already is. And yes, it has taken a lot of men out of the market. The Roni is going to take a larger chunk of it. But it's also going to cut into MiGTOW. It's going to cut into MiGTOW.
Yeah.
What about the guys? What about the guys that are just watching MiGTOW but not calling themselves MiGTOW? Like people underestimate just how many people are sort of, I don't know, naturally checking out.
MiGTOW-ish or red pill-ish.
Right.
Or a lot of people that call themselves like the Bachelors and the free agent lifestyles and stuff like that.
Well, they just don't even have to call themselves anything, right? They just do.
No, they really don't. Or people that practice against rules.
Yeah.
They're basically participating in the culture. They may not outright say they are, but the fact of the matter is,
but the culture doesn't need you to represent it for it to exist. You know, that's what a lot of people don't understand is that like culture isn't really even like a part of people in general. It's like made up of a bunch of ideas and rituals.
Or collectives.
Yeah. So it's like
it starts from the one and it goes into the all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and so like I think that it's great. I think that it's great that MiGTOW content has been on YouTube for a while, and it hasn't really been touched. Like I would say more so, like within our community, we have, except by her. And I mean, like, but the thing is like people will realize over time that having one person in the spot, being a CEO is just like. It might not actually work. I
swear to God, she keep touching MiGTOW content. She's gonna get me too.
It's like sometimes you want to.
It's like touching the third rail in this motherfucker.
Like, have you ever tried being a janitor? It's like we need more janitors in the YouTube headquarters. Like, we might need you to start scrubbing some floors because having you at the head is just not working. Like, they might have to restructure it a little bit.
But the thing is, like,
I seen Susan Wojcicki pretty much. I see her like getting me too for messing with content at her company.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Yeah,
this was unwanted, and I don't like this.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm getting tired of your unwanted advances.
Oh my gosh, Double, are you wait, what's wrong with your camera, Pimp? It's kind of blurry there.
That's that good effect.
He knocked the shit out of it basically when it dropped.
That's like that good effect at the
it didn't drop. It didn't drop.
When he's done with his ride. That's like that good effect at the end.
Up close and personal is good, but there it goes. It's much better now.
There you go.
And
to focus. And to focus.
A little smudge.
But I was thinking, it was like that good effect at the end when you're done riding. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're done, doing your thing.
Oh, I'm not even on it.
Well, hey,
see?
Shit. You got a team on it like Tico. Hey.
It follows. I turned to robotic, so it follows me now. Check this out.
Bad
so
motherfuckers.
As I'm walking, it just follows me with a camera.
When y'all fuckers perform,
I've actually sent this in.
Rule chaperone. Yo, you could sell that as a Pence rule
chaperone. Yeah,
Pence rule chaperone.
Yeah. Like, if you just do follow me mode, then there's no way that a girl
it makes people maintain social distance.
Yeah.
It actually
you could use that as a forward scout. It's like, oh shit, this woman. Let me go another way. Let me scout another way. You know.
Where do you think I got the idea?
Stop to the man. Turn right.
I've already used these drones in the field.
Apparently, that was one of the most.
That's how I know how to make it.
Apparently, that was one of the most
we
searched
could do
up
these
terms.
live
Was
chats and shit. And my man could do
What were
this
you saying,
shit right
Pence?
here. It's kind of like it's in a gaming. Hey, Yam, you mentioned something.
Hey,
but
that's
you gotta
what
look at it. Hey, yo, Double I is doing it in a different way. Hey, yo, Tico, check it out.
Pence want to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, apparently, social distancing was like the #1 trending word here in New Zealand, at least. So it's like that's almost like another Pence rule, social distancing.
You see this hanging do
Oh,
bag
my
right
bad
here?
for that. I didn't know you was trying to say
Do you see
that,
this hanging
fam.
do bag
My
right
bad.
here?
Yeah.
This is what people around here think of social distancing. Just saying. They don't give a fuck.
Well, okay, so I have two things.
MiGTOW was social distancing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they took that word from us.
The playground's blocked off. You see that? The playground's blocked off, but the rest of the park is open.
They put that part of the culture. They put that
Don't be
part
getting
of
arrested,
our
Double I. Don't be
culture.
getting arrested now.
It's like they got it out. They got it out without having to say that it belongs to MiGTOW. But they said for people to stay away from others unless they're immediate family members, which is something that MiGTOW has been saying for years, and they just got it out into the mainstream right now. Like, oh, you guys should be social distancing, when that's something that we did. But I had a question for MiGTOW in the Wind. Do you think that forward observing is a good place for like a new recruit, like an incoming recruit, a good position for that person to have? Like,
no.
So you think it should go to somebody who's more experienced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then like let me vamp this topic real quick on here and see if it works. So MiGTOW is essentially gone social distancing from society, right? Like we maintain our own
started that shit.
Yeah. But then the thing is like since rap music and Hollywood and movies went on without us, it's essentially like unless you're a very cultured red-pilled or MiGTOW person and you haven't really stayed in the taboo topics that we talk about generally, it's foreign territory. So wouldn't it be necessarily good as we're re-entering to society to have maybe a more experienced forward observer, like maybe somebody who is like, and this is where it gets tough because we were just been talking about, you can't make a person want to leave the group, but somebody who is watching the MiGTOW content, right, but isn't really living the MiGTOW lifestyle. Maybe they're a little bit more up on the culture or the culture that we've kind of said is just dog shit or something. Maybe they can be the forward observer, and through that we can sort of be teaching them MiGTOW content, whereas they're kind of making it so that none of us get Me Too'd or get HR'd or really lose our livelihoods in the real world. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Let me give you the scenario. A private or a sergeant. Private is coming straight out of boot camp. Yes, private. It's a very dark thing, but the lower ranks and the has certain things they can do. The upper ranks have the things that they can do. During a normal combat operation, you would have like somebody who's experienced in land app, who's actually used the practical knowledge to get in and out of a situation, or to dial in artillery or mortars on target.
Situational awareness.
Rather than having a
situational awareness.
Right, situational awareness. Rather than having a private who's fresh out of boot camp, really, who's basically everybody in the fleet's freaking boot bands and freaking shirt stays up more time of service than a hair in his head. And it's like, he doesn't know really, he's still nervous. He's still freaking nervous about doing things.
For him.
And like, he's still nervous about going out there, down, out, rounds down range. Because he still has that thing, because he doesn't have the confidence of a senior person who's been out there. Now, here's the trade-off. During an NBC environment, nuclear, biological, chemical environment, here's the trade-off. Guess who has to take the gas mask off first? It ain't the senior person.
It's the peon guy.
It's the peon.
Yeah.
Now, Rank,
the forward operator.
Rank also has its drawbacks. It basically begins to balance out and offset as you pick up rank.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, and then MiGTOW are essentially avoiding the biological attack of hypergamy, gynocentrism, and thoughterry.
I mean, season ones, yes.
So if we're the leadership in it, then the blue pill simps are essentially the ones that got to take the mask off and expose themselves.
Pretty much. The blue pill simps are the ones that got to take the mask off. We'll let them take their mask off. Let them suck in whatever air. We'll hope for the best.
Yeah, man.
For the best. I know it's a little bit messed up.
It is a little bit messed up, but it's like I think that's
the right thing to do.
But it's like what it is. Something has to happen. Because
somebody has to do it.
Explosion. The sun looks like a literal nuclear explosion right now.
Yeah, it does.
Right. I'm just
what does it look like?
Right now looks like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, I watched all the blue pills go through this stuff. I watched all the people who are still dating, go through whatever they got to go through. So I don't have to literally endanger my life.
That sign is symbolic. My bad.
I know it's kind of macabre, it's kind of morbid, it's kind of mercenary, but that's what. That's the way I approach MiGTOW. With the blue pills, let the blue pills go first. Let the blue pills take off their hat.
That they had up there on the cam and shit. That
I'm gonna dip out, but Double I, you take this home, man. Take the form home. But I already did my outro.
Double I had that sign up there, man.
I know, right?
Talking. So this is how I'm gonna go out now, since y'all didn't want to end it at the right time. So that's
you want to bottom more topics, motherfucker. Don't be trying to blame everybody else in the damn
man. It got good. It got good.
Let's end
it. You want to bottom all these extra topics on his way. He talked about we're going to do an outro. The next thing you know, he talked about new topics and shit.
First.
Let's do our outro. Let's do our outro now.
This motherfucker right here.
I'll stay for the outros if y'all actually want to do them and not let Win bring up another topic. Let me stop.
Yeah, you don't want to butt up the last topic, then Win brought up another topic, and it kept going.
And then Psychesoap came in. Keep going. You know,
trying to meet you somebody for the live stream going longer and shit.
Shit, it's what 4:54 where y'all at?
Yeah, man, it's 7 o'clock. It's 7:54. I'm at.
Shit.
It's 7:54 where I'm at.
All right, wind outro. Wind outro.
Outro.
He's rushing him out.
I know, right? He's the one that kept it going and talk about outro.
You're next.
Really?
You're next.
All right, I'll do an outro. This is MiGTOW on a whim. In the nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare of this society, you just gotta let these blue pills take off their mask first, so that you can get the all clear. Yam, you still here? Plant your roots in nutrient-rich soil. Pence, Mr. Pence, or Honorable Mr. Pence,
From Indiana.
don't let them close that door on you for a private meeting. Leave that door wide open. In fact,
And make sure you wear your masks.
make sure you wear your mask
Right now.
and make sure that door is locked open, not closed, locked open. Psychesoap.
Really, dude. Really.
When you go ahead and wash your brain, don't forget to get behind the cerebral cortex.
Yeah, I got my sponge right there, fam. Like, oh shit, so good.
Who else in the panel, right? That's out. Besides me, and Psychesoap, Honorable Mr. Pence, Yam. Double I, Mr. AKA Lost Dad. Make sure you give your kids that compass so they can find you.
He's flipping you off, Win. He's dropping the bird. He's dropping the bird on you.
Yeah, I know, right?
And make sure you keep your little Ford Scout batteries charged.
Batteries charged.
Tico Tren, aka Eternal Sadist. Keep the metal on the tracks. Shine it side up, and don't get hijacked again.
Oh. You know who you gotta tell hi, right? You know who you gotta say hi to, right?
Don't get hijacked too. I'm not.
No, he doesn't. I will cut it off.
Don't remind him.
I will be good. I gotta be good.
Bad idea.
You know, I gotta be on relatively decently good behavior.
You want to make him survive.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to end up like Tico.
We want him to still be MiGTOW and win that by the end of this year.
Right on. Keep him a motherfucking
ground.
I at least want to be MiGTOW and win at least by the end of this year.
Keep him a motherfucking Quasar.
Well, poking is in hornet's nest that I've already poked enough.
Keep it up, his name will be Quasar Lalas. That'd be the name of his new channel.
No, Lynn, don't do it. That's the high ground.
Be Quasar Lalas.
I've already poked the hornet's nest enough.
Yeah.
I just got a nudge.
Quasar lockdown.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
The Quasar lockdown.
It's time for me to get some sleep anyway. I'm already way past my 10 hours. You know?
Okay.
Well, I'm already way past the 2 hours of safety. Just down the win. Don't forget to take your red pills. And if you want to go on MiGTOW, make sure you do that bitch 100. MiGTOW win signing off.
All right, y'all finish out, Pence.
All right.
That was it, right? That was the outro for everyone.
Pretty much.
No, your turn, Pence.
For the most part, you might as well call it that.
Well, I haven't taken mine. I'm waiting for you, Pence.
Now you can drop yours, Double I.
All right, very well. This is Double I, the Lost Dad, and R2 at my side here, pre-programmed. Be good to yourselves, gentlemen. Find your center and find your happiness. The world is big. Find your piece of it and live in happiness. This is Double I. I'm out. And so is R2D2.
Right?
That's what's up.
Did old Soap do his outro, or is it still Soap?
Yeah, Soap go.
Well, fuck it. The end game for going my own way is strictly individual, not collective. But for those that are in the collective, make the all into the one. Let me add that in there. Make the all into the one. The very last thought in my own mind very last beat within my own heart is to know that I went my own way. Share this video to men that need a red pill, goddammit. Like it, comment, motherfuckers. If you stumbled upon this shit and made it this far, because we talked about some good topics, all right? Subscribe to this channel. Oh man, Tico, come on, man. Quit bullshitting. We've been up in it. We should be seeing more than motherfucking 10 up in this motherfucker, all right? Subscribe to the backup channels
Excuse
below,
me.
too. All right? And
Thank you.
donate to Veterans Outreach. This is optional. You know what I'm saying? And goddamn it, I was trying to say something, but let me tell you, man.
Well, I used to have more views on my old channel, basically.
Yeah. I mean, subscribe to all these channels, motherfuckers.
I only have two. I only have one now, really.
Well, fuck it. Subscribe to that. And stay on that and keep it locked down, motherfuckers. Shit. And put the bell on.
And Sweet Padres already over there anyway, so.
Yeah. Put the bell on. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. Anyway. We are all one big brother and not the motherfucker that watches you from a satellite up above. All belong to one father. You tread on one, you hurt another. And that to me is brotherhood. All right, man. I'm out.
All right. Pence rules. Pence rules. You want an outro?
Go Pence rules.
Everyone's all doing these like thought of the day. It's not even, well, it is an outro, I guess. I don't know. I guess people think MiGTOW or even Red Pill is an echo chamber, but we had 6 people in here with, you know, varying points of view. We might agree on a lot of things, but we come at it from different angles. So I think it's sometimes, I don't know, I guess misguided to say there's an echo chamber. I guess it's an echo chamber everywhere, but there's a lot of diversity within the echo chamber. Let's put it that way, even though I don't like that word normally, but in this case there is a lot of in this case there is actually a lot of diversity of thought, and people like to go off on their own little rabbit holes, and you know, and then you can sort of bring it all together and still talk about some random things. But that's it for me. Pence roll out.
Why we gotta be an echo chamber, Pence? That's shot.
The irony to it is like the piggyback went off of Pence said. The piggyback went off of Pence said, yeah, it's not really an echo chamber because I leave the chats open for anybody to come in and join and have fun for the most part. Like Penny Proud was here earlier, even though Cam Petey, who has opposite opposing views, who's usually on the show too, was actually kicking her and banning her and shit like that, deleting her comments and shit like that. We gotta talk about that, Cam Petey, Mr.
Python's brother.
Mr.
brother.
But yeah,
bro.
Yeah, but it is what it is, and like it's all about fun and teaching for the most part. You can't always have it one way,
bro.
You can't always have it one way. You always pretty much got to hear opposing opinions, even if you don't like it for the most part. I'm always down for hearing it.
Chronics live, man. My bad.
Have a good one and have a blessed day.
Yeah, my brother, and that is our show. And you know what?
Peace out, y'all.
All right.